And we're back. Welcome to the Plussed Up Podcast. We have a special co host today, Mr. John Saunders. How are you, John?
I'm good, buddy. How are you, Cody?
Man, I'm living the American dream. Living the American dream. Yep, just us two right now. Shane might pop on a little bit. He's at a work meeting in Texas. I don't know that they're doing much work, but they're there.
Sounds like they're doing more meeting than they are working. Huh?
yeah, yeah, hey,
Well,
yeah. They're meeting. They're they're
that
they're not they're not in the office. I don't know. Thanks.
well, that yeah. There's a lot of business gets taken care of like that. I can understand that.
Yeah, yeah. What you been up to, John?
We're hunting a little bit, much as we can. Trying to trying to hunt coon dogs at night and squirrel dogs in the daytime. Keep everything from burning up, getting snake bit, all the good things that come along in the summertime. Uh,
So, so you are still coon hunting?
we're still coon hunting. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. We still
What y'all
coon
got
hunt.
over
We don't have a lot of coons here. Coons are thin. They've always been thin. Um, there's no crops here. I mean, we don't have any row crops. So when you hunt a coon here, he's living on acorns. You know, um,
Yeah.
I mean they're just not. It's by far not thick. When you turn a dog loose in the dark here, he better know how to go find a coon and get struck somewhere. Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
He's not gonna find one under your feet.
No. They got to get going. A lot of times we'll have a dog. He may be in there 15, 20 minutes, be a mile from you when he comes struck. Uh, they're
Wow.
thin. We try to hunt them on the water now. We're kind of different in a lot of places though. When we hunt on the water, we've got a lot of creeks, but they're not deep. You know, you get a
Hmm.
pair of frog legs on, you keep them dogs in the water. Um, they don't overheat that way, and we've done that for years and years and years.
Yeah. Blake says plus up got a heavy hitter tonight.
I don't know about all
Here we
that, Blake.
here we go. Caleb Wilson says promote my stud dog tonight. John is a good.
we'll do what we we'll do what we can do, Caleb.
yeah.
I can tell you one thing. That one he's got, if there's one got a bigger heart than that dude, now that they talk about ones that can take the heat. Now that
Hmm.
one can take it. Now, uh,
Really.
there's yeah. There's some other things you got to keep on track with him, but uh, he's he's got a heart now like none of them I've ever seen. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Boone. They were talking about Boone. Does he
Yeah.
change the beginning of his name?
You know, I
Or-
don't think. I think he left him. I think he left him Saunders Ozark Boone. That's what he was hunting him under
Yeah.
when we was at the NSD World Hunt. Uh, I don't think he's changed the name on
Y'all go check out Saunders Ozark Boone, and Caleb will be expecting a check.
him. He's actually the dog that I'm pictured with there on the Facebook post that you just put. Uh,
Yeah,
that's Boone. He's a pretty good looking dog.
left it in his name. He made him.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I appreciate
yeah. Uh, we'll take Cash App too. But
it. And
but yeah,
Venmo.
Boone is a good looking animal. Let's I want to go multiple different directions with this conversation.
Go ahead.
So how many coon dogs y'all got right now that y'all are coon hunting?
Right now, we've got two. Dad's got a Walker female out of Devil Anse, bone collector, bred female. Um, we had just bred her to Dustin James Louis dog that had done all that winning, and she didn't take. She should have had pups, I think, tomorrow, but I don't think she took. Um, we've got her, and then we've got Dad keeps another dog that's out of Boone. He calls Ike the red dog. I'm sure you've seen him
Mm-hmm.
on some of my Facebook stuff. He's completely a coon dog. That's all Dad's ever done with him. So we've got two at this point. Then I've got another young dog. I was lucky enough to get one of them out of the Willie Cross that Tyler Asbury made. I got a
Mm-hmm.
about 12 and a half week old pup out of that cross. So we're never out of the hound business by no means. I think we always got them. One thing about it,
Yeah,
we're not short on dogs.
yeah, that's no doubt.
Yeah.
What what about squirrel dogs? Y'all got a bunch of are all them multi-purpose dogs?
Well, now we don't take and hunt like the Ike dog. We just strictly coon hunt him. Um, I don't have much luck on the cur dog side of that, getting them to do both and getting them to do both very good. Uh, I usually try to get them on one or the other. Um, I mean, some guys have good luck with that. Our coons are not thick enough to do much of that. You get a dog down here that's treeing a lot of coons. Boone was a prime example. Now I coon hunted Boone, uh,
Yeah.
but the bad thing about that is you turn him loose at daylight, he's going to get through the world here and tree a coon.
Hmm.
Most of them like a coon better. They just do if you put them on them. It's been my experience. So
It
we
it's
don't have a lot of dual purpose ones.
yeah. It seems that it takes them a while to figure out that we're not chasing coons anymore. We're
That's
going to
it.
squirrels.
Yeah.
So, but I guess at some point they figure that out, and then I mean it is funny how certain ones like coons better because I'm gonna be honest, Gunner likes the coon better too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I
Well,
took him 10 times. He treed 5 or 6 coons,
yes.
and
Yeah.
he loves them.
It seems to be no issue too. I mean, I think it's so much easier to go, especially if you got coons. Uh, but like I say here, a dog's got to get so deep to do it. You have a dog through the world somewhere, and you got to go find him. He's treated with a coon shortly after daylight. So we try
Yeah.
not to do it. Now I will when I take a dog and get a dog finished out, and I'm kind of through with my competition hunting. I had a dog I called Hope years ago that I squirrel hunted just completely. Well, when the dog was about 4 years old, we went to coon hunting. Her probably one of the best coon dogs I ever owned in my life, and
Really.
she had the ability to when you put that light on and switch to the nighttime. She had no issues with that. There was no treeing squirrels after dark, messing with squirrels. She was all business and went in there and looked for a coon and found him, got him up, and run him and treat him. And then at daylight, you could roll right back into it and go to killing squirrels. But she's one of the few. She was the
Hmm.
minority and not the majority. That's for dang sure.
I
We've just
think a lot of.
had very few that do it like that.
I mean, it's obvious, but most people just, in my mind, squirrel dog TV, Shane, horse shit. Okay, I don't like that. It needs to have the person's name, even though I know who it is. But anyways, yeah, it just seems to me like people don't realize they're getting all pissed off because their dog, when it comes to daylight, it ain't wanting to hustle. And I'm like, man, the damn dog ran 5 miles coon hunting last night,
Mhm.
slept for 2 hours, and
Yeah.
uh, then all of a sudden they're mad because it got 2 hours sleep, and then when you turn it loose, trots off and give up. You know?
Well, I just don't. This particular line of dogs that we got, we've had these for several generations now, and they'll all tree a coon. They like to tree a coon. Uh, if you give them the opportunity, they'd rather do that. Uh, and I mean, let's face it. When you knock that thing out, it fights, and it's just a whole lot different game.
Yeah, no doubt. So we
You
got
know.
we got a listener question right here, or a statement. Cody asked John Saunders, asked John about Saunders Ozark Hope. Love hearing the story behind her. All
Yeah.
right. So what's the story? What we got here?
Hope was actually I'd bought a female from Kenny Smith, probably one of the only started dogs I've ever bought in my life. Uh, and quite honestly, it was probably because it was the only time I could ever afford to go buy a started dog. Uh,
Yeah.
we ended up buying a started female from Kenny Smith. She was about 16, 18 months old. Uh, and I took and brought her back here to the house, and we called her Saunders Ozark Pepper. Um, and we took and finished her out and went to hunting her. And I won several state titles with her. We went to Elnora, we went to Jamestown, but that was back when those were the only big hunts. Uh,
Yeah.
if you went somewhere, you had to go to Jamestown or Elnora. And back then, there was no elimination stuff. You had to be the highest scoring dog. It was damn hard to win. It was a one round best score thing. It was rough to win, and we would place, but we never won the whole thing. Um, so it ended up she was a blue brindle female, and we ended up selling her at the time. Like I said, I've always raised and sold these dogs. That's just what Dad did. It's what we did. It was a part of
Mm-hmm.
our. It was a part of our um, way that we made money. I mean, we always kept a nice dog and then had a young dog on the side. So every
Mm-hmm.
time I would buy one, I knew that when wintertime came, we'd put it through season and we'd sell it. And this was no different. That was back in the time when these squirrel dogs were just starting to really fire up. And Chuck Gaeto had jukebox, and they called me, and man, we're going back 25 years ago.
Yeah.
They called me, and I was a construction worker, still am. They called me and went to offering some pretty big money for the time, and it ended up I priced the dog and I sold her with the agreement that I would get a pup out of that particular cross. So they bred her to jukebox. It ended up through some through some different kind of situations. I ended up with the female pup out of the litter. Didn't think we were going to get her. Didn't think we were going to get her registered through
Yep.
no fault of Chuck's. But we were able to get the dog, and I went to Ohio, picked the dog up, and that was the dog that later became the Saunders Ozark Hope female. And probably was still to this day. You hear people say, "Well, if you could have one back, which one would it be?" That's probably it. I've had some nice dogs, but I don't think I've ever had anything that was as well rounded as she was.
Yeah.
Um, Really a nice dog. Did a lot of things like dogs do today. Back 25 years ago, would get deep by herself, hunt deep. But we coon hunted the dog too. I mean, she had the ability to know where to go look for something. So probably one of my better ones. We just kind of lucked out and got her. We got her, and everything worked out. It was one of those situations where it could have went the other way, but we ended up getting her, and it all worked out fine in the end. Uh, Really a nice female.
Ain't no doubt. Well, I back up. You know what a nice female is. I never got to see her go, but I mean, you've been with enough. You think she's still to this day she hunted like that? That what we're wanting now?
Yeah, yeah, I think and I mean they'll get better when they're dead. Let's face it. I mean they all seem to when they're dead, but she is one of them that I think still could have competed today because she had the ability to get going, get by herself, do her own thing, traveled good. That was back when cur dogs were a completely different critter. They were real
Mm-hmm.
funky for one thing. I mean, she was a mountain girl. They had quirks and things that they did. It was just hard to get one you could hold that would come out and give it everything you had. She did that, and would do it day and night. So yeah, I'd say she could still compete. She may not have had the ground speed like some of them that we've got now. That's a huge thing now. This ground speed is huge. She may not have covered the ground quite as fast, but she got deep. Well, sure, not lazy. Whether it's 5 days ago or 25 years ago, I can't take a lazy one. That won't
Yeah.
that won't that won't work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I get
Get going,
that.
get going. I'll go find you somewhere, tree.
Now, are you still running that line today?
No, actually, that was the only thing that I could ever say bad about the Hope female. Hope was not a reproducer. She just wasn't. Um, Now there's a few people that have got pups out of her through the years that they're still raising some pups, grand pups and great grand pups out of. I never got what I thought was a great dog out of her. She just didn't reproduce, and we actually bred her to thrash to flat rock thrasher, and that
Mm-hmm.
is where all of my stuff started. Um, I had two females at the time, and we crossed them both on thrasher. And Hope just couldn't reproduce. That was just her. That was her downfall. Uh, I guess she couldn't do it all, and that was the one thing that she couldn't do. So no, I don't have anything. I don't have anything even closely bred to her.
Wow. So you mentioned something about a blue dog. You had a blue
Mhm.
dog that you traded,
Yep.
correct?
Yep. Yes.
So every once in a while we'll see a blue dog.
Hmm.
Obviously, there's not that as many as there is of brindle, or as there is of white, or well, I guess there's as many as there is white, yellow, brindle, red.
Yeah.
You know, there's not as many of them as you see. But my deal is eventually one of them's got to turn out, and somebody's gonna have to bring it to the hunt. But you never
That's
see
it.
them.
No, you never see them. And back at that time, that was like a hot commodity. Now it's kind of looked down upon negatively. You'll hear people say, "Oh, I've never seen a good blue dog." Well, I'm not telling you I seen a pile of good blue ones. I can tell you I seen one that was badass.
Yeah,
She was as
blue
blue
tick.
as they come. Um, and a lot of people were breeding to jukebox, and they would get a few blues. But the thing with that blue color is when you cross two dogs that are blue, all your pups will be blue of some variation. They're all
Shade.
going to have
Yeah.
that. They're all going to have that smoky gray color, and it was hot. I mean, people wanted it back then. It wasn't near look like it is now. I'm like you though. I'll say this: you don't see many of them, and
Mm-mm.
she wasn't. I mean, she was, and it may be maybe because they don't reproduce that well. I mean, mine didn't. Uh, she just was not a good reproducer, but I mean, she was a good one. Uh, I mean, you just had somebody talk about the blue one there. I think that
Yeah.
any of these dogs, I've never been colorblind with anything. You know, uh, I mean, I don't care what it is. If it's the right kind, I'll hunt it. And back then, like I say, everybody wanted those blue dogs, and I was doing
Mm-hmm.
it for a part of my living. Things have kind of changed now, and I don't have to sell dogs like I did then. We had to do it to kind of keep the lights on at times. I mean, that
Yeah.
was that was part of what we did. It was just expected. You got a nice young dog, you got him going, took him to the hunts, and when the price got right, we sold them. Uh, I can remember thinking, man, if I can sell a dog for $3,000, I can live for half the year.
Yeah. Yeah. How many you got for selling over for 3,000 right now?
That's all changed now. Yes,
Yeah.
I can remember when I sold my first one for 3,000. I mean, I called my dad and said, "Man, this guy's offered me 3 grand." He was like, "Ah, you got to get rid of that thing. That is, that's wild." But
Oh.
we've far surpassed that now. We were
Yeah.
talking. I was talking to somebody the other day about puppy prices. I can remember when puppy prices went up to $250, and people said,
Uh-huh.
"Hell, there'll be nobody buying them. There'll be no puppies sell anywhere across the country. Nobody's going to give 250 for a puppy." Well,
Mm-hmm.
now they got 1,000 added to that. I mean, there's a lot of puppies sell for 1,200, 1,500, $2,000.
They do, and I think right now, what I'm seeing, I would say the average price is 500 to 750. I feel
Yeah,
like in the near future, that's going to become more of the 750, and a few people will get 1,000
I
in
think
the cur
so.
dog side.
Yep, yep.
The hounds, they're selling puppies 1,500.
Well, I think we've always been behind hounds. There's no doubt we have. I mean, let's face it, we've always been behind the hounds in the hunts and the dogs and the prices, but we're steadily coming forward. Uh, like I said, I mean, I can remember when $3,000 would buy you the best squirrel dog in the nation. If you had 3,000, you could buy anybody's dog. Well,
Yeah.
now it won't get you. They won't even nobody call you for that. You know,
Yep.
uh, 3,000 won't get you nothing anymore, and it's a good thing. When you look at what we have in these dogs, by the time you get a dog finished, I mean,
Hmm.
you got a pile of money in him now. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not much on the people that say it's becoming a rich man sport in the aspect of you can still go buy a puppy for $500
That's
right
it.
now, currently, and you can train it up. And if it's a nice one, you got it right. You can sell a pleasure dog for 5,000. You can sell a nice competition dog for 10 to 20.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not. You hear that all the time, and maybe there are some parts of it that are, but there's still a spot for everybody to get in this thing.
Yeah,
From a guy that wants to pleasure hunt, all the way to a guy that wants to go to a $30, $40 hunt, all the way up to some of these $6,500 entries. You can get in where you fit in with this thing. Um,
hmm,
and man, I can tell you, we come from a background where you had to get what you could afford and train it and put the time in it. That's the one thing that hasn't changed about it. Um, a guy that wants to work hard at it, you can go get you a dog that'll do something, and you can sell that dog like you say. If he's a good pleasure dog, he's 5,000 to 6,000 bucks on the low end. All the
yeah,
way up to whatever they get for some of these dogs now. It's definitely different, and I'm glad to see it going that way. Like I say, you look at what it costs to raise one. Hell, you can't raise him for that kind of money.
Oh, I get it. I've heard of So in the past month, I personally have had a guy tell me that he was uh, a guy was talking about giving him 20 grand for a dog that's under 3,
Mhm.
and I had another guy that was all I heard was offered 10 to 15 thousand for a pleasure style dog that was around a year and a half.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
unheard of. Now, that being said, if you're looking to buy a finished dog and you don't have a whole lot of money, you're in a bind.
That's it. Yes. Well, I think it's become, like I say, 3,000 used to be the common mark. I
Mm-hmm.
think now 7,500 to 10,000 has become the old 3,000. I think that's kind of where things start at now.
Yeah.
Um, Especially if you've got a female dog. You know, um, Not to say that a male dog's not worth a pile of money, but I think so many people look at this and think, and rightfully so, they look at it and think, well, I can take that dog and breed that dog and get a portion of my money back. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I can see that to some degree, but I mean, yeah, 10,000 is kind of the going price now.
Now you're a female guy and your dad's a male guy, correct?
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah,
How'd
yeah.
that work out? He
Well,
kept all the males and you kept all the females?
well, a lot of times, yes. That's how he's ended up with the Ike dog that he's got. I'm not a female or I'm not a male dog guy. Um, I just don't keep one around a lot. If I've got one, it's because I'm thinking I'm going to put some time on him and then sell him later on in the fall. Dad
Mm-hmm.
likes a male dog. Um, I think for me, time after time, I think the female dog is a little more consistent. Um, Now, when I say that, there's a lot of variables to this. I mean, there's going to be people
Yeah.
say, "Well, I had a male dog, best dog I ever seen." I understand all that, but for me, traveling around, going to these hunts, putting dogs in different spots, I think you have less issues with a female dog. Now, the dog's going to come in heat. That's you're not going to avoid that, it's always at the most inopportune time. But
Yeah.
I like a female dog. Like you say, you visited with Dad about this situation. He'll tell you he's a male dog guy. Uh, if he keeps a female, it's because he went to get a pup and that was the one that was left. He's
Yeah.
he's going to try to pick a male dog. But I think so much of that stems from, back in years gone by, we've been messing with these coonhounds. I'm 50 years old. We've been messing with these things since I was a little kid. Back then, if you looked at a dog for sale, if somebody had an ad, like in Full Cry or American Cooner, the male dogs would be higher than the female dogs. Now, I'm not talking by a ton of money, but a puppy back then might be $125 and a female be $100
Yeah.
because nobody wanted females. As strange as that is, nobody wanted a female dog back then. But it's all changed now, and like I say, I just like one for the consistency. Uh, I think that they mature a little faster, and there again, not in all cases, um, but I think a lot of times they mature a little faster. They just fit my style a little better.
I've kind of the limited opportunities that I've had to go, with multiple dogs at my house. I've had, I don't know, one, two, 5 or 6 females and about to equal males that I've been through, and the females seem to be more wanting to hunt to please you. The males are more of they're hunting for themselves. Now I understand there's a few females here and
Mm-hmm.
there that hunt I'm saying a male dog hunts, but from what
Mm-hmm.
I've saw, like the sure enough top male dogs, they need a ride.
Yeah,
Once you
yeah,
get
that's
to the
it.
woods, they're doing
Yeah,
their own thing. The females
yeah,
have more took up with their handlers.
yeah.
Kind of maybe a little weirder about swapping out if with somebody a different handler unless they've been with that handler before. But
Mhm.
but have you experienced that any?
I think that maybe in years gone by it would have been that way, but I'm kind of on the opposite end of that. I think that like this witch dog that I got. You've seen witch, judged her, and hunted against her. You've been around
Mm-hmm.
her a bunch.
Yeah.
You could take her and cut her loose. She's going to do the same thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of those females that needs a ride. You just take her
Yeah.
and she's going to do her thing. That for me is what I'm looking for out of all these crosses. I think that is that's a huge part of being a consistent winner is being able to put these dogs with somebody else and they come out and perform the same way. You know, there's some of them that are super nice dogs, but if something goes wrong, it's not just quite the same as it was. They don't perform at 100%. Man, as much time and money as we spend in these, you need to come out and be hitting on all eight cylinders.
Yeah. Here's a man that got a pup from you out of Boone.
Yeah, yep.
Dalton Mears. Yeah.
Got a nice
Nice young
pup.
pup.
Yep, yep.
Well, I don't know
That's
what
a
at what age we. What? All right. Here's a hot topic. Uh, I appreciate it. Yep. It's my lie, even if it's a lie. But here's a hot topic. At what age do they quit becoming pups?
well. I'm going to tell you. I'm a little bit old school on that. Uh, I think at 2 years old, when a dog gets 2 years old, for me, now I know there's registries that do it completely different and we'll be in them and trying to win what we can. But if you ask John Saunders, what do you consider a junior dog? That's anything 24 months and younger, in my opinion.
Okay. So I have a mixed feeling about this. I kind of go both directions. So I don't think a dog between 24 months old and 30 months old is a pup. But what I do think is getting that extra few months to hunt your second junior year, because very few people are hauling, and and even the ones that are hauling, most of them shouldn't be hauling a 7 month old puppy
Mm-hmm.
to the junior hunt. It could be setting them backwards if you've got a dog
Mm-hmm.
that comes in, or a dog that jumps on them,
Yeah,
or it could be
absolutely.
going to another dog and backing the dog and not getting corrected for it. And if that's what you want, cool, but most
Mm-hmm.
people don't. So most people are going to skip the first year because they're 7 months old and they're not quite ready,
Mm-hmm.
or should. They're going to or should, most people. So that does give them that second year
Yes.
200.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we're looking for numbers, then yeah, because I'm gonna be honest, if you show up and there's 10, 8 or 10 junior dogs there, it's kind of a weird situation because you're like, well, you don't want them not to be able to hunt because there needs to be a junior hunt,
Yeah.
but
Well,
also,
I think a big, huge part of that is those pups' birthdays. Because now let's face it, if you've got a dog that has a bad birthday, he may be hunting in his second season, but that may truly only be his first full, what we would consider a kill season on into competition season. You know, um, I think that there's so many variables in it, but I think for me, it would be 24 months or younger. I think because when you get a dog that's 24 months old or older, um, look at these some of these PKC dogs. Now, if they're competing against dogs in that age bracket, 24 to
hmm
36, and you have it, hey, put your dog in there. Uh, but if I was going to do it myself, um, I think 24 months and under is the junior dog. I think that's the bracket that they should fall in. But like everything else, everybody can't agree on all of it. You hear some of them doing it at 30 months, some of them 36, and I understand there's a shortage of young dogs. Um, but I do think that there is also a spot the for these really young dogs. I think it would be great if you hunted in a like PKC does with these baby stakes. When you go there and you're hunting against 12-month and younger dogs, everybody there is supposed to be 12 months and younger. Now, I think that's great if you could do it like that. I realize in our side of things, you can't draw the dogs, so you have to, when they have these hunts, they have to have a certain amount of people to make it a go. I get that, but in a perfect world, man, if you had them set up where you could hunt these dogs 12 months and under together, I think that'd be super. Then 12 to 24 months. And then if you got that 24 to 36, awesome. You know, um, just kind of my thoughts on it.
I like that, and I'm not necessarily, which it ain't like it's a big a deal like anybody's listening, but if they could take just say 18 months and younger like I've heard some registries are going to try to do, and then 18 months to 30 months old, and you hunt with your group until you can't.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
think that, yeah, I think when it works out great. But for the poor dude that's got a really nice 11-month-old dog that he brings, it's firing on all cylinders. And we've had them, we've had dogs
Hmm.
that we think can compete at 11 months old. When you drop him in there with a dog that's 35 months old, that's two
Yeah.
different worlds. And you may have a very nice young dog. I'm not saying that, and he may be able to compete, and he may win, but
Hmm.
you're putting him there again in a spot that there's a lot of age difference there. There's just a whole lot of age difference in experience there.
Yeah, no doubt. Tyler says, I heard this man had a badass tricolored puppy. He told me he was still waiting on the car hauler to drop it off.
Man,
No.
what bad luck.
Oh, oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah. He got that tricolor puppy over there. You messing with that much right now? You doing yard work or?
Well, actually, I have been messing with that pup a little bit, and I do them about like I do them all. I start them doing some yard work. She's about 12, 13 weeks old. She has been to the woods one time. And I don't want anybody to think, boy, I carry them all to the woods at 12 weeks old, because it doesn't happen like that. We had a big cool front. Uh, yeah, see, too soon. We had a we had a cool front come through. Everything was just right, and I did carry her to the woods.
Yeah,
I mean, I try to make everything good for them, but yeah, I mean, I'm packing her a little bit. Knocked a squirrel out around her. Showed her the squirrel dog wants to tree. She's going to be easy to get to tree.
yeah,
Kind of young dog you want to mess with. I mean, you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, if they tree that little, that's not that big a deal." It is for me. I want one. I
yeah,
want one to do something. And I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they all got to tree at 12 weeks old. That's not it at all. But when they do show some interest in that, man, that keeps the guy fired up. You're looking at what's going to happen in the next 60 days. What you can do with that puppy. But
yeah.
yeah, I mess with them, do a little yard work, and a lot depends on the puppy. Man, there's some of them can't take the same amount of pressure that these other ones can. Got to watch what you're doing with them.
No doubt. Yeah, Stephen Bradham says that's how the NSD is set up with the juniors, but there's never enough entries to separate. It is a tough situation. I mean,
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah,
I,
they're trying
I
to.
guess there's
You
I
want
guess
to
there's
compete.
just that
You
many
want to
more
compete.
coon hunters hunting in these hunts. You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think when you look at guys that have got stud dogs, um, they're all trying to get a dog that's ready for the freshman, sophomore, junior. They have these dogs as they rotate through, and rightfully so. I think there's just a lot more dogs involved in that. There's no doubt about it. But if you were trying to replicate something, I think that's the ideal situation. Like Steven said, we don't have it because there's not enough dogs. It just doesn't work like that for us. Wish it did. Like I say, if we were trying to make it an ideal situation, it would work like that.
Uh, let's see here. Terry Bailey says you think that the breeding is changing just for dogs to tree more instead of squirrel dogs.
I, I think that the breeding has changed. I, I I've been at this long enough that I can remember when you'd go through a pile of dogs trying to get one to tree, and if you tried to do that with a cur dog, you'd really go through a pile of them. Now there again, there's going to be people say, "Well, I've had dogs for 150 years. They came off the Mayflower trend."
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
uh, you'll hear them say, "All that mine have always treated like that." I didn't have that kind of luck. Uh, when they went to breeding, hounding these dogs and making more tree dogs, then it got better. Then we kind of went on the far end of that thing, and we got too much tree. You know, we went from having dogs that wouldn't tree, and back when I was a kid, man, if you had three Walker dogs, there might be one of them out of the three that would tree. Now they'd
hmm,
run track, they'd all run. I mean, they was excellent track dogs, but nothing
yeah,
treed. You know, um, they started changing that, and things went the other direction. And then now I think in the squirrel dogs, we've got some real accurate dogs. Now, is there some dogs that tree too much? Yeah, there probably is. Um, but I think if you look right now, and I think Tyler Asbury and I were talking about this a week or so ago, we're in the good old days of dog breeding as far as you buying a puppy, just like you were talking about a guy going out and buying a puppy. The chances of a guy going out and buying a puppy now of about any breed and it doing something is pretty good. Buddy, I'm telling you now, back in the early 90s, it was not like that. You better plan on on hunting a
Yeah.
bunch of dogs trying to get one that would treat. So I don't know. I think that we're at the part where I think you're still seeing a lot of accurate squirrel dogs. I mean, we go to a lot of hunts. We see a lot of squirrels treat on the outside. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times people think that the style of dogs that we're hunting, may just make a lot of trees. I'm pleasure hunting my dogs. They've got to tree squirrels, you know. Now I want them to, on the other end of that, I want them to get in there and get treed. I don't care if a tornado's coming in or it's a snowstorm or it's 100 degrees in the shade. Go get treed somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I think we walk that fine line, and we've created this in the way our rule set is and what we do and when we have these hunts. I mean, let's face it, most of these bigger hunts are when it's a rougher time of the year. It's not ideal time. We hardly
Mm-hmm.
ever have any in mid-November, 1st of December when it's just ideal conditions. It's going the other way. Um, Man, I've seen times when a wood monster'd win every cast and you couldn't beat him, and then I've seen other times I've got my brakes beat off by a dog that would tree squirrels and do them around me. So I guess you kind of pick your poison.
I think that when the leaves are on, dog is willing to get treed, has a very good chance of winning. And I've actually hunted in a state hunt last year or the year before. I think I came in second. But literally, the guy said they brought the dog, it, and another hound or two that was looking to make wood because they looked at the conditions. It was 30-mile-an-hour winds and freezing cold or whatever, and it was like, squirrels ain't gonna move. We gotta
Yes.
get treed.
Yeah.
So, but to feed a dog all year, waiting on 2 or 3 hunts that the optimum conditions are good for that dog.
Yes. I can't do it. Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to
It's
work for me.
like,
I'm going to, and I'm a little different than a lot of people. You hear guys say, "Oh, I don't never kill any squirrels." When the squirrels come through here, and they migrate through. They come in and they'll be thick and then they leave. When they come through, I'm killing some squirrels. Now there's parts of that you got to watch. You can't do it to a dog that you're going to take to the hunt. You got to start giving him the ones he needs and making him recut and doing all the things that we do. But I mean, I kill a lot of squirrels. If it wasn't for my dogs treeing squirrels, I wouldn't feed them all year for it. I mean, they're pleasure dogs that I competition hunt. And maybe some people aren't like that. Um,
yeah.
if the competition hunt stopped tomorrow, I'd still have a squirrel dog. And I like the competition hunt, but that's not my only thing.
So, to answer Terry's question, I personally think that they got to where I think they change as the rules change.
Absolutely.
And everybody, if they see a dog winning in a certain style dominantly, they go to trying to go that direction. And then when they go to doing this, if they see a dog treeing closer and hunting the woods out, they're going to go that direction. If they see a dog making a bunch of trees and winning, they're going to go that direction. But I think the USDC, with their tiebreaker being most plus points, ended up trying to make squirrel dogs instead of just dogs that make trees.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I
Because the
think that
minus don't hurt you as bad in the USDC.
yes, that's one of the rules that shines on a squirrel dog.
Mm-hmm.
That the dog that trees the most squirrels. So yeah, I mean, I think there's no doubt that we take and make dogs to suit the rule set that we have. There's no
Mm-hmm.
doubt about it. I mean, you hear everybody talk about the controversy of using Garmin's, not using Garmin's. Um, on the hound side of things, I come from far enough back in a time where you couldn't use your tracking system at all during a hunt unless it was at a timeout. I'm telling you, you had a different kind of dog then. Um,
Yeah.
so many times now we look at that Garmin and I say, well, she's 700 yards in there that way. You go to key in your ear listening that way. If you don't have that and that dog's through the country, you can't hunt that kind of dog.
Hmm.
I mean, you look at your Garmin, I look at mine, we split the difference and try to keep those dogs in hearing. If you don't know where they're at, you can't hunt a dog like that. Then you take a dog that hunts around you within hearing, he's going to put it on you. You know,
I've
it's a rule set.
I've actually had a time that I treed my dog and my Garmin was messing up. It was at the OMCBA World Hunt I went to.
Hmm.
My Garmin's reading this away, but it
Hmm.
sounds like he's coming from this away.
Yes. Yeah.
And I go to walk and I tree my dog and they're like, all right, go handle your dog. We'll come to you after we score a tree. Well, I start walking. I'm like, look, guys, my Garmin says he's this way, but he sounds like he's this way. I
Yes.
ended up walking towards him the way I heard him. My Garmin just had been messing up, but
Hmm.
it's it's such a weird deal because you're like, I was saying, I mean, I've heard that dog bark a million times, but I'm
Yes.
like, is that even my dog?
Hmm.
Is that my dog? And I'm really listening for cadences and bark, and I'm
Yes.
questioning myself because my Garmin says
Yeah.
he's this way,
Absolutely. Yes.
but
Yeah.
I'm hearing my dog over here, and I'm like, man,
Yeah.
and it's funny because you
And
sit
you've
there and
listened
listen
to
to
him.
an animal,
You've listened to him forever with the way that arrow points and think, yeah, I
yeah.
got him in there. Well, when it's completely backwards, you're second guessing everything that you're doing.
Uh,
And
yeah,
you're thinking, boy, I don't want to
yeah,
call him if that's not him. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
It was a different game before we had that. There's no doubt about that. You had to have a dog that would stay in pocket. Um, because I mean, when you called a timeout, you had to rush in there and get him, try to get back. We just didn't
Hmm.
have dogs that hunted like that. Um,
Yeah.
that's a big difference. Now with these things, we've made these dogs to suit these hour hunts, these 90-minute hunts. You want him to fly through there, get hooked, um, try to have the most ground speed, get as wide and deep as he can, get treats someplace. We've all bred for that. And like you said, when you see a dog winning that way, everybody takes their females and breed to that. Well, genetics is genetics. You breed the
Hmm.
one that's doing that, you're probably going to get pups that are doing that, and that's
No
what we've
doubt.
selectively bred for.
William Asbury says the junior dogs numbers will rise. We are witnessing history here. The first junior nationals held 13 head. So I don't even know what it was last year, but I'm pretty sure it was more than 13. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to grow.
I don't remember what it was last year, but there was more than that. Um,
Yeah.
I think that you you're also starting to see people that are interested in the junior dog side. Now so many people want to come with a dog to hunt in the senior hunts and a junior dog. Um,
Hmm.
and dogs are starting earlier. There's no doubt about that. You'll hear me say it a million times. Dogs are 1,000 times better than they were in years gone by. So when you get a dog that starts and you got some faith in him, you're going to pack him somewhere. I mean, let's face it. We have a lot of dogs that win these junior hunts that we draw in these open hunts. They're nice. They're
Yeah.
nice dogs. Yeah, I think people got a lot more faith in them.
Let's get confrontational a little bit right here. Let's
All
see
right,
where this goes. So you know Doyle Sherman very well.
absolutely, good friend of mine. Yep.
Did you hunt with Hummer?
No, no,
Okay.
did not hunt with Hummer.
All
Um,
right. Well, just trying to think of some of the sure enough top dogs back in the day. So do you think that Hummer, Jam
now
and
you,
Bow,
huh?
all them dogs, like they were almost virtually unbeatable in their prime?
Yes. Yep.
Do you think we have bred good enough nowadays that those dogs? I understand they would still win, but
Hmm.
do they go being just absolutely dominant? And do
I
they?
tell you, I tell you what. I think those dogs dominated. And let me say this. I mean, 5 or 6 generations later, everything I got is a Jam and Bow bred dog, top and bottom. Dole's a good friend of mine, and we bred these things. Go ahead.
when I say that, I'm not looking to put them down. I'm
Oh
looking
no,
at
no, no, no,
our
no,
breeding
no.
is so much better
Yes,
now, and
yes.
people are bringing nice dogs.
Oh,
But go
absolutely.
ahead.
What I will say about that is back then you had a dog, and I didn't hunt with Hummer, but I hunted with Bo. Um, those dogs dominated. They were nice dogs. I think they could compete in today's world. What made them dominate so much back then was when you walked up to any hunt, if there was 40 dogs there, I could about tell you who was going to be in that final cast if they was hunting it off. It was there weren't like now, every hunt we go to, if they did it 6 weeks in a row, they're probably going to have six different winners. You got to get lucky and have the breaks. It was not like that then. You would have dogs that would just come in and blow the doors off because they were so dominant. And you saw it happen then. So everybody bred to the Hummers and to the Bows, and it's got us to where we are today. But I think they could still compete, but I don't think that there's any dog that wins all the time. You hardly
Mhm.
ever hear of a dog that goes in and somebody comes in and says that I just got my doors blowed off. It's always, well, I was beat by one squirrel.
Yeah.
One tree got me. It wasn't like that then. These dogs would fly through the country, get treed, and stay when nothing would. A lot of times people would minus out. It was a different world. So you had 4 or 5 dogs then that dominated. Could they compete today? Yeah, I think they could compete today. Would they win as consistently? I don't know that there's any dogs that win as consistently today because there's so many good dogs. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Not
Well,
taking nothing away from the quality of any of those dogs, but I think now the quality of those dogs were at this level and everybody else's was down here. Now everybody's is at about the same level. You know, um,
yeah.
so I think it makes for a different game. You
Which
know,
is a testament to the breeding.
absolutely. Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Yeah. There's no doubt we're in the best of the times for dog breeding. I mean, there's lines of dogs and they all do something.
And I'm sure one day we'll look back and say, man, the dogs of today are better than the dogs of 2026. But it's just hard for me to fathom them doing much better than what they're doing now. They're all quick. They're all
Yes.
getting treed. They
Yep.
all like to have squirrel, or the majority of the winners.
Yep.
Like they're all doing it at such a high rate. It just blows my mind at how much better we can get.
That's it.
Because
I think we tried to, and I agree with you 100% on that. Back 15 years ago, man, we were on the uptick with this thing, with the quality of dog. I mean, it was something. You're back here. We lost you for a
yeah,
second. Um, we back then we had to breed a whole different style of dog to get a dog that would just stay treed. It's completely different than that now. I'm still not saying that there's a world full of great dogs, but there's a lot of really good dogs. Great, still few and far between, but there's a lot of good dogs out there, and it wasn't
yeah,
like that before. And I think that's absolutely a testament to these people's breeding programs. Now you don't hope for a dog to tree; you expect it to tree. You know
hmm,
what's happened the last 3 generations. It's probably going to happen again.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so Mike said he came from a time with no tracking systems or shock systems. I couldn't imagine turning my dog loose and not knowing where it was at. That just,
I can tell you, Cody. We I've been at it, like I say, 50 years. Dad's been at it. Dad's 70 years old. I can remember way before tracking systems. The dogs were different. Um, if you had a dog that didn't check in, a lot of dogs checked in then. Now I'm talking about hounds. We didn't even have squirrel dogs at that time. Um, those hounds would get deep. If they didn't check in a certain amount of time, you would take that old Scout or that old Bronco, whatever you was hunting in these hills here where I live, and you'd get up on a ridge top and you'd listen for him, and you would listen till you heard him. And if you didn't hear him here, if he went that direction, you'd go to the next ridge top. I've done it a million miles and hundreds of nights
mhm,
with Dad. You'd get up there and you'd wait, and finally you'd hear him. You know, it was completely different. The way you broke dogs was completely different. I can remember the first shocking system that Dad bought. I was a kid, but there was two or three guys here that all went together because nobody had any money, and they bought this shocking system. It looked like a suitcase. Uh, it was huge, you know. You would take, hey Shane,
What's
hey,
happening?
What up?
he living the high life.
Yeah, that's right. I'm in San Antonio at the La La Canter La Canter
Cancer?
Canter La Canter.
Oh,
I don't know.
Uh,
It's Spanish.
uh,
It's like the one of the nicer golf clubs in or golf courses in it's PGA. It's a PGA golf course.
uh,
I didn't mean to step in on your story.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh
No,
man, I'm just jumping in to hear the knowledge.
we
well,
just talking dogs over here. We're talking about the time back when he didn't have tracking systems and they was going that direction, listening.
I tell you,
Wha-
it
Before
was you.
beep beep.
Well, this was way before the beat beeps. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just telling him the first shocking system that we had to go in partners with some people. And when you got that thing, it was in a suitcase. It looked like one of them like the little kids pack around just going to grandma's. It was about that size. You'd pack that
And it
suitcase.
was either on or off.
That was it, and it was hot. That was hot or nothing. There was no variable intensities. Uh, it was
You was
when
melting
you
toenails off.
I'm telling you what, when you got it to work, when all the stars aligned and you hit old Blue through there, it would flip him upside down. I mean, there would be no doubt. But all that stuff had wires all the way through them. It'd run all the way through your collar and back to your transmitter. And you had a stick. I mean, when you jerked it out there, it looked like you was holding a pipe bomb, and you jerked this big antenna out, and you could just knock their ass off with it. But it just didn't. Nothing worked good. Nothing was reliable. Then we finally got to the point where we bought a tracking system. And I can remember my dad standing at the edge of a clear cut with that thing beeping around in a circle. I think we tracked Cub airplanes for half the night. I don't know what we were tracking. Uh, but it changed. It changed. You know, you packed the beep beep collars around, and then I had an ATS. You could find a dog with it. You know, we got to where we could find them. But the big thing was you couldn't use them during them hunts. You know, you could get in a timeout, you could get it. So that changed the kind of dogs that we had. You know, that's what we were just talking about, how you hunted them. You had to hunt them
Yeah.
completely different. It was not like there was there was dogs that got deep, but those dogs would check in, and if they didn't check in, you needed to go to looking for them. You know, I can remember when you guys remember the Tracker brand tracking collars. It was a little bitty unit. It was probably this long. Had the fold out sides. They would be like green, and
Oh,
they had
yeah.
four fold up antennas. If you
Yeah.
Yep.
had
Yeah.
one of them, you had one of them. It went on a holster, and boy, you looked like a dog man when you had one. And that was the only
Oh,
thing it
you'd
was
hey,
good for.
they'd take it out like this and go.
Yes. Yep. That was it. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I'm telling you, you look like you were important, but you weren't no better at finding your dog than anybody else was.
Yeah.
I packed one of them around for years, but when these Garmins came about, that was a huge change in the dog world. It changed the way we train, how we do. I mean, let's face it, before we had those Garmins, you'd think, well, oh, Joe ain't checked in. He could be a mile in there. Well, he could be. But if you had these Garmins that we got today, you flip that light on old Joe and look, and you'll see he ain't but 60 yards out there. you know?
Hey, when you lose service, when you lose communication with your caller, do you get nervous?
Oh, absolutely.
I
Yes.
do too.
Abs-
I'm like, oh God,
absolutely.
he's by the water. He's gonna get eaten by an alligator.
All the worst case scenarios come into play. Uh,
All of them. He's gonna get run over. Oh God.
yes.
Uh,
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
now there's been a few times that I would forget a collar or whatever it is, or maybe get out there and you don't have a transmitter. I ain't turning my dog loose. I'm just not doing it. I'm going back to the
yep.
Yeah.
house. You know,
Yep.
and back in years gone by, we'd cut four of them in the dark, and you thought that was normal. You know, it was just how you did things. Uh,
I
it
remember
was
my
a
dad.
different world. Um, I think it was definitely neat to come from that time and see how it's changed. You know, we did things so much different. Uh, I mean, the people were different, the dogs were different. Um, everybody sold coon hides, so I mean, it was a huge deal. Uh, we had a big
Oh,
time
coon
there.
hides were $25, $30 back then.
Well, back then, my father did construction work, and in November when coon season started, we coon hunted. He didn't work no more. We coon hunted, and we sold coon hides. And I'm telling you, when the fur buyer came, he came twice a season. When he came, it was like a big deal in the town I live in. There's a lot of coon hunters.
Yeah,
There would
yeah.
be people there at the feed store. People would come. It's kind of like the old style check stations where people would come and see deer being checked
Mm-hmm.
in. Same way with the coon hides. All the coon hunters would come and sell to Profits Fur Buyer. Um, I can remember that
And
guy.
trappers too.
That's it, Trappers too. And
Hey,
it was
dude,
a.
I I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Shane.
I'd never seen a mink before until so I had a trap line when I was like 12,
Huh?
and I caught a bunch of coyotes, house cats, dogs, neighborhood dogs and stuff. Like
Did you?
you
Catch
want to
it?
talk about get ate up? Catch a pet.
Did we
Yep.
lose him?
I might have lost him here. Uh oh.
Uh
Yep.
oh.
He came in for a short time.
Yeah. It was so different back in Cody. Like I say, you hunted them coons and sold them. We didn't leave nothing unless that thing went in a bluff and you couldn't take a piece of dynamite and get it blowed out of there. We packed a chopping axe everywhere we went. I guess statute of limitations is far gone. You're not supposed to be doing that stuff, but and everybody did that. It wasn't like that. It was odd that we did that.
Yeah.
Everybody packed a double bitted axe, and you'd knock a hole in there. There was no dogs that weren't accurate. They just
Yeah.
didn't make it because I mean you'd cut these holes. You'd cut a hole in there and jerk that coon out. You know,
Yeah.
uh, and then sell them. I mean it was a huge part of what we did for a living. It was a different world.
I remember my dad. We used to run deer dogs without them. When you couldn't find them, we would ride the roads during the night, and then
Mhm.
Daddy would drop me off, and then he'd go back up there with the buddies, which it was more of a social event, at
Yes.
night,
Yeah.
looking for the dogs, talking on CBs, riding around,
Mhm.
having a good time. But I remember him throwing coats out on the ground. He'd come
Absolutely.
back up there the
Yes.
next morning, and dogs be
Yep.
laying on him.
Yep. Yeah. Dad did the same thing. You put your jacket down there, that dog would be there. It says something about the dog. Those dogs
Yeah,
knew. Those dogs knew how they worked. They trail all night long. When they got daylight, shortly after daylight, we'd load up and go out there and pick them up. And I
yeah,
can remember that when we lost a dog, we had an old dog Dad called Gun for years and years. Probably one of the only ones that's lived here till he died. Was a nice dog. Made a lot of money selling coon hides from him. We lost him one night. We looked for him for 6 days and nights before we found him. I mean, that was an important part of the family's income. I mean, you were looking for that
yeah.
dog. Everybody was looking. Uh
Uh, I used to like to go and get all the magnets off all the deer dog hunters. They'd be all in the fender well. I'd pull
huh.
them all off and I'd stack them all in mine, and they'd be like, "Where the
Yeah.
hell? What? Y'all seen my magnets?
Yeah.
Can't take
Can't
my
shut this
collar
collar
off."
off. Yep. Yep. Can't shut this collar off. Hasn't that stuff changed so much, man?
Oh,
Uh,
tremendously.
yeah. What's
Yeah.
Blake got there?
Blake says, "I remember coon hunting in the 1920s before Garmin's, and we couldn't pull out your trekking system. Knew 100 times more what your dog was doing than folks do now." I do agree with that to an extent. I think you know what they're doing when they're barking, but now you don't know if old Echo was standing out there 150 yards, and
I think what changed with that was when you went to calling a dog. Sometimes we start hearing a dog, we're hearing something. That tree switch
yep,
goes off. We're really hearing something. We're trying to hear something. Just like you said, when you
mm-hmm,
take all that away, just like when you were talking about your dog being this way and tracker showing he's that way, it changes everything.
a fact.
Um, and I think that it did. It changed the way we did things. And I'll tell you another big factor in that too was back when we were doing those things, dogs packed up. They didn't hunt. The dogs didn't separate like they do now. You'd have a
Yeah,
dog hit a track. Every dog would be on the same tree, whether it was daytime or nighttime. So it changed your game. It was a calling contest. You had to have a dog that you could call when he located. So it's altogether different. He's back.
He's back.
Oh,
He's
can't
not
hear you.
back.
I can't hear you.
He's muted. He's muted. Yeah, he's muted. No audio source. Says you don't have an audio source.
Can you still hear us?
Hello? No. I tried to unmute your mic and it tells me no audio source. So I don't know what's going on there.
Maybe he'll come back.
But and Blake also says I've still got a Tracker Maxima.
Maxima. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
probably still just as bad as it was when it was new.
It's just as terrible as it was. Yeah.
You could find a dog with him. You could find
Yeah.
a dog with him. That was about it. He's
Shane.
trying to get back in.
He's trying. Yeah, Shane is in full pimp mode right now. I had a Wildlife TRX 3 forever. Loved it. Wish I still had it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever tried the Dogtress?
I've never tried one. No, I know guys that do. You know, guys that use them like them. I just never tried.
I saw Josh Michaelis uses one. I didn't know. I've never used one. I know Austin Mitchell uses one.
Hmm.
I can't keep my phone charged,
That's it. Yeah.
and I just don't want something else pulling the battery down on my phone.
Well, and I don't know. I'm sure that maybe there's other options now. Like everything else, technology has advanced, but I guess that's still all on your phone. So that for me is not that's not the best idea for me at this point. Now there may be something though that if I tried, I think, damn, that's the best thing there is.
Yeah.
Back, can you hear us now? Got him. He's back.
You ever use the Dogtra?
Yeah, hey, dude, I like the Dogtras. I might actually, I'm kind of down on Garmin. Like they've kind of dicked me around a little bit, but it is everybody else uses Garmin's and they're so durable and tough. But the Dogtras are nice, and most people that try Dogtra from Garmin, they don't go back. So once they go Dogtra, they don't go back.
Is it all on your phone? Everything on your phone, Shane?
Yeah. I mean, I'm still using a Garmin, but yes, it's but you can use a different phone if you have a phone that doesn't that's not hooked up to like a service, the battery lasts a lot longer,
okay.
way longer.
Yeah.
So if you have like just a dummy phone,
yeah,
like it works great.
Yeah.
And you can download maps through Wi-Fi, and like the new Dogtras, like you can set up an invisible fence or a boundary. Let's say it's a highway or interstate. You can set up a boundary and it'll beep 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 beep. Then it'll shock them before they cross that highway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal.
But if it malfunctioned and said your dog was in China or something, it'd shock it. Shock it. Like,
yeah. There's always a downside.
Yeah. So I like the Garmin's because of our hunting club, but
they're tough.
Yeah. But I like the Garmin's, man, or the Dogtras. They are nice and right. Have you used the Dogtra? Have you used the Dogtra?
I've not. No, I haven't used it at all.
Cody?
I've not even seen it.
No, neither of us have.
Yeah.
No.
Like, then you can't even talk. How you know you like the dog? How you know you like Garmin better?
Well, number one, for multiple reasons. Number one, I don't have near the problems you have with the Garmin. You have the worst
I've had
looking at
several.
anybody ever seen.
Yeah. Like,
But
it can cost you some money in a hunt for sure. But all of them can malfunction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And like I say, I may try one and think, boy, that's the best thing there ever was. I've just not seen it. There's nobody even got any in my part of the country. I've never seen one at all.
There's a couple people around me that has them, but not many.
Yeah.
like I said, our hunting club. If I'm gonna have a Garmin, I might as well use it for squirrel dogs. But we got 90 something collars, deer dog collars in our hunting
Yeah,
camp.
see,
I
it
might as
makes
well use it.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what about like the dummy collars and stuff that the garments have? Like like there's some kind of issue with it. Like somebody got caught or they wouldn't be checking. Like the USDC checked a bunch of people. Like they checked like every round. So
Hmm.
it's an issue.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. There's no doubt. I mean, we were when we were at the at LBL at the World Hunt. There was a guy that had come from the USDC World Hunt, and he asked before we started. He was on my cast. He said, "Hey, do you mind if I check collars?" That's the first time I've ever had a collar, and I didn't have no trouble with it. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead and check them. That's not no issue.
Yeah.
Um, I think that it happens more than you realize it happens. You know, um,
How did he check it?
and he just took the collar off the dog and looked at the dog. He said, "Hey," and he was real nice about it. He said, "Hey, do you mind me checking everybody's collars?" In fact, I think it was me and D. Patton were on the cast with the guy. Yeah, we were like, "Hey, yeah, that's no trouble at all. Go ahead."
All
Um,
right. So my question is, which I'm not using one, but if he was, how would he know?
well, I think all they were looking for was prongs on the inside, just the prongs on the collar. Because I mean, let's face it, with the technology that they have now, they make them things where they don't look like they're anything different than the 20s that we have. They just got capabilities that somebody has installed in there. But all he was simply doing was looking at the collar, physically looking at the collar.
Yeah.
But I know I've heard them taking and turning them collars on and pairing them and checking them. You know, uh, I mean, I
Hmm.
hate that it's gotten to that point, but I mean, let's
Yeah.
face it, it has in some areas it has.
About the only way you can do it is if you pair it to the collar
Yes.
and not let them give you a tracking code, because they could give you a track only code, and they might only have the track only code in their Garmin too,
Yes.
but they might
Yeah.
also have a different code that's for correction.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I think when you go to dealers, there's no limits to what they'll try to do. So I mean, if you pick this part, they're going to come up with another something. I can't say that I've ever seen it myself. Um, I've never come in contact with it. It's the first time I've ever had anybody even check any collars.
yeah, so Tyler says we will be able to use Garmin's and full training collars in competition squirrel hunts within 10 years. Well, I see coon hunting going to it, and I'll
Yeah.
say this: they better not mess around and make it next year, because my dog will never be out of pocket.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There'll be a lot of things change there. Well,
Yeah.
I think there's no doubt that if you look historically where we are now, we follow coon hunting. We follow the rules that are set on the coon hunting
Hmm.
side. We just follow them a few years later. And I mean, you look at Josh and the elite handler series that he's got. They're doing that. And I can see why that they're doing it. They're trying to make it completely even across the board. If you want to shock your dog, shock your dog. Now I don't know that I'm completely in agreement with it, but I'm completely not on the other side either. I think so many of these rules have changed. Everybody jumps on one side of the fence or the other. You got to try it and see how it goes first. Um,
Yeah.
you know, um, I mean, look here. Here's the argument on the other side. What about these dogs that get out and get run over while they're on a hunt? We all know high-end coonhounds that have had that happen. Would that have happened if they were able to get that dog in? Well, I don't know
Uh,
that. I can't say yes or no, but I would think it would greatly add to your advantage of getting him back.
yeah.
If you could tone him. Um, so I can see why. I think they're trying to make everything as even as they can. If you're getting to do it, I'm getting to do it. Um, so I don't know. I guess maybe there's a good side and a bad side to it, but got to try it first, see how it goes.
Yeah. Shane says I have 3% battery. Peace out from La Cantera Resort. Thank you, John. Appreciate you, player. Tyler's drone is a different sport. I hope they do it for Joy Super Hunt this year. I'd,
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah,
good with it.
Well, and I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. It could happen. You know,
Hmm.
uh, I think that there are so many of our things that we do follow and hound people. They see it because let's face it, there's so many of us that were hound hunters that came from
Yeah.
that side, and that still do. Every year, you see some of the biggest players in the squirrel dog world. They're also handling the hound at night. They're
Hmm.
seeing the advantage to it. So,
Yeah.
man, we're
Justin says, man, before the Garmin, you actually sit down against a tree, relax, and stare at the stars.
absolutely. I'm telling you, it was a different game. It was a different game. I hear people all the time say, "Well, kids aren't into this. Why aren't kids into it?" I'm telling you, there's something about that being caught up in that thing, especially at night. You're listening to the dog. There's nothing else going on, and I'm convinced when you get there and you can knock something out. I mean, how many times do we go and don't even pack a gun? A lot of times we do. We're training. If I was a kid, I don't know that I would like that much either if you didn't knock something out. I can tell you this: if I knew my dad was going to go to a tree and cut a hole in it and jerk a coon out and that dog was going to kill it, buddy, I'd walk to the next county to see that happen.
Yeah.
And I think it would still do the same thing. I mean, now we don't hardly kill any coons at all. I mean,
Yeah.
we kill very few coons during coon season because they're not worth nothing, and I just hate to kill them. So, I mean, if you're a kid and you come and go, if you don't get to knock that thing out and see that big fight and all that commotion, I don't know if you'll come back. There's something about what Justin's saying about sitting out there listening to them and getting caught up in the whole thing.
I enjoy that aspect a lot more. Normally, it's you can sit out there and listen to the crickets chirp. You can listen to the dog, and I guess your senses are heightened because you're normally sitting out there with no light on, and you just look out there in the pitch black dark, or maybe the stars and the moon, and you're hearing, I guess, or your senses are just higher because you're not using your eyes, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. But now going hunting while the kids is getting ready for bed
Mm-hmm.
and or wait until it's 9 o'clock at night to go hunting and you gotta get up at
Changes
five
it.
a.m. I ain't much on that.
Yeah, it absolutely changes it. But I think Blake had said it earlier. You know, back then when you didn't have it going to look at, like I say, when you went to a competition hunt, it was a calling contest. So you were listening to that dog. I hunted a dog that had a real screaming, squally mouth when he come treed, when he located.
Hmm.
I was listening for that so that I could call him on a half a locate because the
Yep.
guys in the cast by me were going to do the same thing because all those dogs would pile up on the same tree. So it changed that you were really trying to tune in to what that dog was doing. Not that we aren't now. There's some of the best handlers in the nation now. I mean, there's a lot of very, very good handlers, but it was a different kind of sport back then. There's no doubt about it. It's completely
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. I still like listening to them at night. I just done about got lazy to where I don't feel like once I've worked all day going back out there at night.
Yeah, it's different. I know that we still do it. I love it. I mean, I don't know that there's anything I like better than a young dog training his first coon, walking up there and seeing them eyes walking in. I don't know that that ever changes. That sound, that good hard tree dog at night. I don't know that there's much things that are any better than that for me. Now I love the
Yeah.
squirrel hunt. I love going to a dog treat and having a squirrel. But I'm kind of like that dog. That coon excites me a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, I like it. I mean, it's just a different game, but it's man, it takes so much time to do. I mean, and if you're going to do it successfully and compete and do it all the time, man, there's a lot of divorced coon hunters. There's a
Yeah.
reason for that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not easy now. I mean, it's hard on everybody. Uh, we used to do it and load up and go to work, and it wasn't no big deal. You got to have a love for it, that's for sure.
Now, are you squirrel? Well, let's talk about that right quick. I do think that there's a lot to it also in the aspect of when you walk up to a tree, you're hoping to see a squirrel because they can timber out, they can get in a hole, they can lay on top of the biggest limb 60 foot in the air. They can do all this stuff. If that dog's got that coon and you got
He's
an
there.
accurate dog, he's there, and you're
Yep.
normally gonna see him. and unless he's in a hole. So there is a bit of that aspect of when I walk in here, I know this dog's gonna have his coon.
Absolutely.
No, I
Yeah.
hope the squirrel's still there. I hope it's not in a hole. I hope it's not in a nest with no vines.
That's the one thing that's different in the games,
Yep.
because like you said, there's so many more variables in that. That there's things where that coon couldn't be there. I get it. He may be inside, but there's so many things that could happen for us looking for this squirrel. Like you say, when you got an accurate coon dog, I expect to walk up there and see them eyes. When I cross that hill, I'm gonna look up there and see him. Um,
Hmm.
unless he's got inside, he's got one or two options. Well, I
Yeah.
guess he's got three. You've either missed him and he's not there, or he's inside, or you're going to see him on the outside. And
Yep.
now with these thermals like they got, that's changed everything. You
No
walk
doubt.
up there, look at that thermal, there he is, and that's that. You plus him up and you go on.
Are you squirrel hunting dogs right now in this
Yes,
heat?
yes, yep, yeah. The only time that I don't squirrel hunt during modern firearm season, during deer season, and I don't squirrel hunt during turkey season here. But other than that, I hunt year round. We just kind of adjust to the conditions and go on.
Like, what's the temperature up there today?
Today it was 89 degrees today here.
Oh well, it was fine.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 89 today. Now, I mean, I think tomorrow's supposed to be 94. We have those 100-degree days, and we hunt when it's extremely hot. But you got a
Hmm.
dog acclimated to it. These dogs, and this group of dogs that we got, they take the heat well. There's some that just don't take it as well. No different than people. But the group of dogs that I got now, they do pretty good in this heat. Now they're in good shape. Keep them hydrated. Take good care of them, and kind of build them up to it. But I've never really had a lot of trouble. Hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I just wouldn't do it." I understand that if you don't want to be out there, it's rough, man. Uh,
Hmm.
but for me, where we're at in Missouri, when our squirrels are thick, I kill more squirrels with the leaves on than I ever do when they're off in the fall. Our
Yeah.
timber's a little different. This is a kind of a unique spot here. I can go to if I got a dog that's accurate and it makes 10 trees, I'll find a high majority of them 10 trees, the squirrels that are in there, because
Yeah.
our timber's not that big. You can walk in there and jerk a vine, shoot up in there, whatever it is you choose to do with the dog you got. A lot of times that squirrel will be there. He don't if he ain't left and you got an accurate dog, you've got a high chance of getting killed because our timber's so short. Now it's oak timber. I
Yeah.
don't want to make it out like that. It's not. It's oak timber. I mean, it's loggable timber. They log here all the time, but it's not as tall as in some places. So, yeah, we
Yeah.
hunt them. We hunt them right along all the time here. I know you see those guys that are up here quite a bit that are coming up from down in your part of the country. Um, they
Yeah.
come up and they come up to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Because of the way the squirrels
Bart,
are. You can find them.
Bart, and Gary, and Blake. And,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
they come up there
Yep.
and wear them out.
Yep, yeah, the whole LBK crew comes up here and we work on young dogs and set things up. Man, you gotta have people that are like minded to put them dogs in those situations. See what you got. Start tying these dogs out in different spots, turning them loose with different people. You start to get a gauge on what they're going to do. Before you take them to these junior hunts. Um, this is a good place to do it because like I say, the timber's a little different here. And when we've got squirrels, our squirrels are super thin now, and we're still treeing squirrels. But
Yeah.
when we've got them, they are. We'll have some days where you might kill 24, kill 30 of them. You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and we've done that. When they come through, we work on them.
Yeah. One more thing about the Garmins before we I don't really want to get back on it, but Justin does make a good point. Uh, I don't do this, but you can link the Garmin to your phone
Mm.
and
Yeah, I
get a
got it.
better map.
Yeah,
But the biggest thing
yeah,
I like about it is you're able to track other handhelds,
that's
and it
it.
is a game changer. Me and John actually in a cast, was that last year or the year before?
Yes,
Me,
last year. That was last year. Yep.
me and you and Crystal was
Hmm.
in the woods, and
Yeah.
we could see exactly where each other were, and it's not. I think they went this direction. I think they went that direction.
Yes.
You can walk
Yes.
straight to them.
Well, and I'll tell you what else you can do with that, and we do it a lot. A lot of times, Dad will we'll cut a dog in there, and I may be working on a dog recutting day or night. Dad's at the truck. He's watching me on that handheld. He can see where I'm at. When I cut it again, I don't have to try to call him and say, "Hey, I'm going to come out here." He knows where I'm
Hmm.
going to come out, and then I can see his and see where he's coming around
Yep.
here to pick me up. So it is those garments have revolutionized the way we train dogs. You couldn't do that before. I mean, he'd have
Hmm.
no idea where I was at. I'd have no idea where he was at. Same thing as in those casts. If you use them for all they're made for, I think there's so many things that you can do. You can take a young dog and see what his ground speed's like, see what he's actually doing. Back in years gone by, if he was off over the next ridge, we didn't know where he was. We
Yep.
just assumed he was deep. If he got treed deep, well, he must be hunting real deep. Well, he may not be. Now you got these Garmins and you can see it. They're a heck of a tool. There's no doubt about that.
Hmm.
And the map is brighter, like he says on that phone.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm in a weird situation. I've got two pups here at the house. Got great birthdays. Great birthdays for hunts. And come first kill season, they're gonna have great birthdays for that. But they're 4 months old, and I'm in a situation to where I'm not trying to prevent them from treeing, but I'm not just overly trying to get them to tree because I like hunting one hard once they start treeing. And it's hot, and their squirrels aren't really on the ground, and there's snakes and it ticks, and it's just a terrible time to hunt a puppy. So, what's your feelings on them puppies that are, March, April, May birthdays that need to be? I mean, you could get them treeing. Do you prevent it until it's
You
October,
know,
or do you go
you,
ahead and try?
I go ahead and try them. I mean, that's I've got this 13-week-old puppy here now, and it will be in the woods here at about 4 months old. I'll start putting it out there at very limited times, at the best of times, when all the stars are aligning, and I think it's got its best shot. I'll put it down for a little bit, and if that
Yeah.
pup goes to treeing, I'll go to knocking game out to it. I put it up on a high, when things are going good. I watch it. Don't let that pup hunt till it gets gutted and tired, especially in this heat. That's
Hmm.
a huge thing. You get down on a pup because he's not doing what he did. Well, it might have been 55 degrees that morning and it's 80 and the humidity's at 80%. He's
Yeah.
not going to do the same, especially at that little size. But no, I don't prevent him from doing it. I mean, I hunt them. When you're talking about having two puppies, I ideally like to have two or three really young dogs because I'll take them and put them down at a very short time. Put that one up, put another one down at a very short time,
Hmm.
because they don't need much hunting anyway. All they need to
Yeah.
do is just be making that pup think that he's the only thing out there that can tree a squirrel or a coon, whatever it is you're hunting. Start building his confidence. Put him in the right situations. He's learning something. As long as you're not pushing him over the limit,
Yeah.
because I think you hear that all the time. People say, well, he started off good and now he don't do anything. A lot of times that's due to the people that are pushing them pups too hard. You've got to really watch that. It's like a kid playing ball. We've talked about that. I mean, he may be very, very good and be 8 years old. You don't need to put him out there doing it, 14 hours a day, or put
Hmm.
him or put him with the high school kids. He can't do it at that level. You can only put as much pressure on him as you can. And I think though that you can take those two puppies, put them in the right situation, dump them down, start to build their confidence. If they're treeing, I'm going to try to take them to the woods a little bit. Now
Yeah.
I wouldn't just look at it and say I got to hunt that pup every Saturday. No, I wouldn't do it unless things were good, and conditions got good. But if they did, I'd absolutely hunt that puppy. Yeah.
We're in a weird situation to where I guess the squirrels are migrating to the pines. I know they're ours always cut pines right here before October. So I'm not seeing any yard squirrels. I'm not seeing any squirrels in town. I don't know if they're all trying to go to a different food source or what, but like optimum time, I don't know where they're at apparently because they're not here. I've been looking
Well,
for one to kill. Or back
yeah.
up. It's not
You know
squirrel
what?
season. I'm not looking for one to kill. I'm looking for a roadkill
Yes.
one
Yes.
that
Yes.
I can let them play with. But like,
Well, I know here they're cutting hickory nuts here, and when them squirrels
yeah,
go to cutting hickory nuts, they very rarely come down. Now I realize they got to come down some, but they don't come down a lot. So you take a dog and a lot of people will say that, boy, that dog starts off good. Our season starts the last week of May. Well, it's up into August now. So you could have had 60 days of really good hunting. That dog's, man, he's cranking. And then all of a sudden his wheels fall off. Well, there's no track on the ground. There's nothing. The only thing that smells like squirrels is the nuts that are falling on the ground that he's cut.
Yeah.
You know, so you got a dog running around there. He's trying to locate. If he's not the best locator, he really has a rough time with it. Kind of a rough time. Now, some dogs take and they adjust to that super, super fast. It's not a big deal. But that's definitely a problem right now with a young dog. These squirrels are up. They're hardly ever on the ground.
Yeah. Justin Hitchens, we were hide hunters. My dad and Alan Franklin would take all their vacation the first month of season. I can't kill them now like I used to and not skin them.
That's the same way I am. I can't. There's just something different about that. I don't feel good knocking that coon out and throwing him in the ditch. I can't. I can't. It just goes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got a little more respect for the coon now. Not that I'm against killing coons, because I mean, if I could kill a few, and if I could sell them, I'd kill a pile. But I'm kind of like Justin is. If I'm not going to skin them, I kill what the dogs need. Uh, but we just don't ever. We don't ever kill them. You don't need to. There's no market for them.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. It's a weird situation. I like killing them, the squirrels. Which I come a little closer to killing a and not. But anyways, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
it is a weird thing.
You're kind of in a different situation, though, and a lot of people are than what we are. Our squirrels migrate through here, so if you're hunting and they're thick, you may as well go to killing them, because they don't stay here like that. We have a few resident squirrels, but it's not like that. Where you're hunting a spot where you're working your young dogs, it's a 20-acre patch. There's squirrels in there all the time. If you kill them squirrels, there's a limited amount of squirrels there. I live in a national forest. These things come through like a plague when they come through. I mean,
Yeah.
they're everywhere, eating everything when they come through. Right now they're not. They're thin. But when they do, you can take advantage of it, because they're not going to stay there anyway. So like you say, you'd way rather kill a coon around there. You got way more coons than you do at your disposal than squirrels. So it's different
So,
game.
so in Mississippi, you can legally feed deer. There's some criteria. You got to have it off the ground. It's got to be covered. Blah blah blah. We use a lot of automatic feeders or whatever, troughs. But you can kill 8 coons tonight, and the next night there's 8 more, and then you
Well,
kill them, and the next night there's 8 more. And I'm like, well, why was there not 16 coons to begin with? Why is it just 8?
oh yeah,
It's
it's so different here. I can remember when our coon club bought coons. They bought coons from Iowa, live coons, and vaccinated them. We all got together. Now I'm a little guy at this time. This is
yeah,
45 years ago, probably. They would bring coons in, and it was a big deal. And you would get each club member got so many coons to turn out in your spot. You would
mm,
take them and turn them out, and I mean they did them like people do deer. They tried to manage their coon population. I can't count the coons that I've live trapped on jobs and brought back to my country and turned loose, because we didn't have any. You know, uh, Way different than like what you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
I mean, we're trying to buy them and bring them in.
That's wild. Yep.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. So it was just a completely different thing. I mean, let's face it. If you're buying coons from Iowa, we don't have the same problem as you do, where you got 8 of them eating your corn feeder.
We'll have three or four feeders on 100 acres,
Yeah.
and we'll have 3 to 5 coons on every feeder at the same
Uh,
time.
yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it, it's
I
wild.
wish we had like that here where we're at. If you've got a nice hound and you tree 3 singles in a night, buddy, you've had a good night. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
you I've been on some over here on our hunting club with Austin and them. They tree some singles now.
Uh-huh.
They tree them, and they
Yeah.
don't kill them. They just move on. But
Yeah.
it
It's
helps.
different. Yeah. Yeah. It's different. That's for sure.
What's y'all's limit up there?
As far as what squirrels,
Squirrels.
squirrels is 10. Yeah,
Wow.
10. Used to be 6. It was 6 for a long time when I was a kid. Now it's 10 per man per day.
So I have a question,
Hmm.
and it's kind of a contradictory question because on one hand, I think it's foolish, and that's just me. And on the other hand, I really like it. So can you explain what type? So all of your dogs in your pictures, number one, they're really good looking animals. Number two,
Thanks.
you can tell you do a lot of work with them to take good pictures. Now, I'm not a bench show person. And at this moment now, when I get to be older, and if that's all I can do, then I might become it just to mess with dogs.
Hmm.
But I feel it's foolish to to work on a dog to take it up there and show a dog in a bench show competition.
Hmm.
That's just me. I
Hmm.
don't think dog of the year points should be off off of bench points. We're doing this to competition hunt squirrel dogs
Hmm.
or coon dogs, not show them on a bench. But that being said, it's part of it. But you have to do something to make these animals stand up there, big, strong.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah.
so,
Well, I tell you, and I hate to keep going back to the old days, but when I was a kid, if you had a hound, everybody's hound that was competition hunted, a lot of people showed that dog also because it was a very prestigious thing to have what we called a dual grand dog. So he was a grand night champion and he was a grand show champion. And my father was a bench show judge. There was a few of them across the state. He would judge bench shows all over. He was also a master of hounds, judged a bunch of hunts. So I was involved in that side of it all the time. So when we had any dog that was being campaigned, it better stand up there.
mm-hmm.
So um, you had a dog that was what they considered kind of a dual purpose kind of a dog, and it's a far gone thing. They don't do it like they did anymore. Um, when you go to Autumn Oaks now, it's a lot different. There's a lot of dogs that show in the show, um, but it's more like the Westminster Dog Show now.
Yeah,
Back in those days, those were hunting dogs, and it was very important when you had a stud dog that he was a dual grand dog. People looked at that. The conformation of a dog was so important back then. A dog had to have good straight legs, good feet, and for me, it's all carried over. Um, and I mess with mine about every day, doing something with them. It becomes part of my routine. It's something I've done for 40 years, so every one of them gets to where they're gonna stand up there. um, and it is. I mean, we hardly ever have a bitch show anymore, but I still want mine to look like that.
yeah,
Um, so I mean, I do it with all of mine, and they have to be acclimated to that. I promise you, they don't just sit up there and do that on their own.
yeah,
Uh, there is an art to that, and like I say, for me, it is. I've never. I think it's kind of like saying, well, I don't care what a dog looks like. Well, everybody cares what a dog looks like.
mm-hmm.
There's nobody that thinks, man, I wish my dog was uglier. Uh,
Yeah,
if you,
yeah,
yeah, he's just too sharp. I mean, if that was
yeah,
true, you'd go out in the morning and take your Ford pickup and say, well, that chrome's just that looks bad on there. I'm gonna jerk that
yeah,
chrome off. You
mm-hmm.
know, it's like it's something extra. For me, I want one to stand up there and look like he's supposed to look. Now he needs to be a coon dog or a squirrel dog,
Mm-hmm.
but I want that dude to be pretty. I'll say this: I breed for a dog to kind of look like that. If he's not got a pretty decent set of feet and look pretty good, he's probably not
Yeah,
going to eat my feed. Uh, and it may not make a lot of people a hill of beans worth of difference, but it does for me. And I think that's going back to the old days of those coon dogs. You know, uh,
so do you have any tips on somebody that's looking to do that?
to get a dog to stand up there, well,
Or
yeah,
is that
there's some
secrets?
there's some tips to it.
Well, I'm
No,
not
there's no.
necessarily saying go through the whole spiel, but is there a couple of
Yeah.
tips you got for it?
Well, one thing about it, you got to have a dog that'll stand up there and be still, where you can put that dog where he needs to be. And you first off, you got to start off with a dog that's stationary and wants to stand there. Um, And oddly enough, a dog that's genetically bred to do that, man, there's a bunch of them that'll stretch out there like a show horse when they're little babies. They just do it. Those are super easy. But the ones that don't, you've got to take and put that dog in the right spot where his feet are good and tight. But as far as just tips, man, you got to start that and be repetitious with it. You've got to do it all the time. You hear a guy say, "Well, I've tried to get mine to stand there." If you only try it once a month, he's probably not going to do that.
Yeah.
We do it in a repetition. I put my dogs on a treadmill quite often. When they do that, a lot of times, on the bird dog side, we hunted a lot of bird dogs. That gives you a chance to look that dog over when you've got him back before you turn him loose. It gives you a chance to see what you got there. And in the middle of it, I want him to look good. Yeah, costs the same to feed a good looking one. I'm all for that. I like one that looks pretty good. It may not mean nothing to anybody else, and I've had a lot of people say, "What do you do that for?" Well, I don't know. I guess it's just part of what I do. It's part of the regiment that they have.
Yeah.
I want him to look good. Like I say, ain't nobody ever said, "Boy, I wish my dog was uglier."
Yeah.
And he's too pretty.
Man, I wish that one was ugly. But now you said that about the trucks. Did you know? Do you have any Mennonites around you?
No, but I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking
They
about.
don't like shiny stuff. I used
Yes.
to work with one
Yeah.
that had spray painted bumpers and wheels.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
He,
Well, I can tell
it
you.
might have been against their little. I don't want to diminish that it's saying little, but it might have been their certain group of folks that
Yes.
didn't want it,
Yeah.
because they spray painted all the chrome,
Yeah.
and it was definitely different.
Well, I know the Mennonites do that, but I can tell you this: the Saunders, they we must not have no Mennonite in us. 'Cause I like that
Just polished
chrome.
up. Just polished up.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that stuff chrome and shiny.
yeah, I get it. So last topic I want to hit tonight. What's the future looking like? I see this JPI sold out, and all the early entries sold out in a matter of minutes. I
Yeah,
think the late entries took up to 2 hours. You're talking about 81 entries
it's
at a
amazing.
$1,000 a pop. We're talking about 27 dog hunts are selling out in 2 minutes for $600 a pop.
Yep.
Like, it blows my mind at how fast these hunts are selling out. What do you think? You think we're growing? Do you think we're finna plateau? Do you think the
I
price is gonna keep going up?
I think that it's no different than anything else. If the economy stays where people can afford to do these things, I think it's going to keep going. We go back to the hounds. I can remember when they did this on the hounds, and you thought, man, there's nobody will ever pay these entries. Who would have ever thought there would have been a $6,500 entry fee hunt? They're the same way. It's not like they're
Hmm.
standing on a corner begging people to pay these entries.
Hmm.
Now I understand there's a different group of clientele, but when you're looking at the JPI for 600 and there's 81 dogs in there and sold out in a matter of hours, you
Yeah.
know, that's huge. I think
Hmm.
that definitely says it's growing. If you looked at that and said, well, we tried to get 81, we only got 41. Well, then it might be on the downtick, but I don't think it is. I mean, it's going. How many times do we see these USDC hunts, any of the bigger hunts, sell out real quick and people are saying, man, I'd like to have an entry if one comes open? It's
Yeah.
growing. I truly believe that.
Uh, Blake says I think we're 5 years away from $100,000 payout for first place in Squirrel Dog World. I
think
hope so. Now
I
that
think
being
we're
said, go ahead.
I think we're closer. I think we're closer than 5 years.
Um, I hope so. Now that being said, if I didn't have a backer, like I always said, man, I wish that squirrel hunting, which I guess to an extent it is. If you go out here, I know 20 people around here that have pleasure squirrel dogs.
Mhm.
I know 3 or 4 that have coon dogs, and most of them competition hunt. You know what I mean? I only know a couple people that don't competition hunt their coon dogs. Uh, so I guess squirrel dogs, there are more by majority of people that have squirrel dogs than coon dogs
Hmm.
because they turn them out in the yard, and if they want to take old Jake or whatever its
Yeah.
name is out there, they'll let him go and treat. Now, I've always said I want it to be as big as the coon dogs. I guess popularity wise,
Hmm.
but I couldn't afford a $6,500. All right, back up. I don't
Absolutely.
want to afford a $6,500 entry fee. My
Absolutely
wife's
not.
gonna look at me crazy.
No,
I mean,
absolutely not. Yeah, I think that there are people in this world that gamble. I'm not one of them. I'm
mm-hmm,
not. I mean, some of these entry fees that we pay, they scare me to death to pay them. I think I got a nice dog, but just to take a gamble on that kind of money, and there's other people that don't. There's other people that
mm-hmm.
enjoy that. Um, so I think you're gonna see it. I think it's still gonna grow. Um, on the coonhound side, you're talking about that. I think there truly is way more people that competition coon hunt than there's not that many pleasure coon hunters anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't do it like that. When I was a kid, I mean, there was a pile of them here in this county. There was a lot of camaraderie in there. People hunted together. You stayed together as a group. Dogs would be treated as a group. So it was a different game. Right now, let's face it. There's no young guy that wants to turn a dog loose in the dark, go stay by himself all night and try to catch him. It
Yeah,
doesn't sound fun to him. You got to have the right kind of kid that wants to competition hunt. So I think that there's definitely, in my opinion, there's still more competition coon hunters. I think the squirrel dog side, there's still more
yeah.
pleasure squirrel hunters. It's more of a pleasurable thing as a group.
I think
Oh,
that if you, dang, hang on, can you hear me?
y'all got you. We got you.
Well, let me get my mic plugged back in. I think it went to my Bluetooth. But I think if you look at it in an aspect of, let's see if we can get us back going. That change the volume any?
No, you're good right there.
Okay. I think if you look at it in the aspect of people that own coon dogs and actually go coon hunting, I would probably guess to say that 75 or 70 plus percent of them probably competition hunt. I would dare to say that 5 to 10% of the people that own a dog that will go and tree squirrels and actually take it squirrel hunting
Yeah.
go to competition.
Yeah, I think there's still, and I think a lot of that is so many people, and I'm sure you've heard it, they'll say, oh, I don't want to go to them competition hunts. Man, I heard what happens there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you and I have been on casts where we were hunting for several $1,000s. Probably some of the best casts we were ever on.
Mm-hmm.
No issues there. Uh, People are at a different level, and I think it's the same way with with the coonhound side. Not to say that there's not some bad apples in the bunch, but I think so many people, especially on the squirrel dog side, have got a negative look on a competition squirrel hunting, and they think, oh man, you'll just get skint there. It's terrible. I've heard about what happens there. It's probably the higher the entry fee, the less issues you have, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's still a spot. You can still come to these $30 hunt. There's an NKC hunt somewhere. However you feel about NKC, there's a spot to get in. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, I think that there's a big negative connotation to the competition squirrel dog side, way more than there is the competition coon dog side. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of people, if they tried it, they'd see, man, these guys are pretty good guys. It's way different than what I assumed it was going to be.
Yeah. Get your dog like mine. The UPS guy is terrified. TSC can't stay stocked up on food. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
We have
So
all
what we have to do is make everyone feel welcome and continue broadcasting the sport through social media equals growth. I would
yeah.
agree with that.
Oh, I think there's no doubt about it. I mean, you look at now, how many times do we see somebody's puppies or somebody hunting yours, mine, everybody's? It's all on social media. Uh, I mean, quite honestly, if it was for coon dogs, I probably or squirrel dogs, I wouldn't even have a Facebook. That's
Hmm.
how I stay in contact with the people that I'm involved with. Social media is huge, and like I said, well, you got to try to grow it somewhere or another. I don't know of any kids in my area, young guys, that hunt. When I was 18, there was a group of us. I mean, you'd go to a hunt and there'd be 30 kids there that were under 20 years old that were all trying to hunt a dog in a competition level. It's not like that now. I mean, kids just don't want to do those things.
Yeah. Well, they have Xbox and YouTube and tablets and travel sports
Mhm.
and
Absolutely.
everything else under the sun. There's so many other hobbies, and
Yeah.
I guarantee you, one of mine's at church, and the other one's in there probably hollering at the TV,
Mhm.
playing Xbox. And I can,
Well, and I think so. It was so different when I was a kid. No doubt there was none of that stuff around. But I'm telling you, I was obsessed with it. At 13 years old, I was obsessed with coon hunting.
mm-hmm,
That's all. Well, even younger than that, that's all I wanted to do. I thought I was going to be a professional coon dog man. I'd make a living doing this. Well,
yeah,
I come to find out that you can't do that.
yeah,
But I mean, and I think that's the difference. There are still a few kids that are consumed by it. You know, you'll run into them every once in a while, but it's not as much. And I think technology is a big part of that. You know, if you're sitting around and you don't have nothing to do, well, you'd probably go coon hunting with somebody if you weren't tied
mm-hmm,
up doing something else. Uh,
mm-hmm.
yeah, I think we definitely need to do all we can to grow it. That's for sure. It's
No
not
doubt.
that's the one part that we're slipping on, making it
I,
grow.
I'm sit, I'm sitting over here trying not to exploit my child and put him on these streaming apps of him playing video games and making millions of dollars off of him because
Uh-huh.
watching him talk to folks on that video game,
Mhm.
it being a 7-year old, nah, he don't cuss them, but he'll hoop and holler and what do you think about that? And I'm just sitting there
No
imagining
kidding. Uh,
imagining him just beating the fire out of grown adults on there, and him sitting
uh,
there at 7-year old with his legs up, him playing,
uh,
but him having the controller like below the chair and stuff, and I'm
yeah,
like, there's probably grown men that are really trying right now to
yeah,
beat him, and he's
yes. He's 7 years
just
old doing it.
going wild. Now that being said, all he has to do when he gets out of school is to play Xbox. He's a grown man
Yes.
that's probably got a full-time job. So
Yeah. 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 It's different. That's no doubt about that.
Dalton
Yeah.
says
But
he's thinking about trying competition hunts out again this season.
yeah.
Come on.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
I think
You
it's a
live
good
in
thing.
you live in the spot to do it. You know, I say it all the time. Come and try these things. If you've never been to one, you hear all these negative things. I'm not telling you that everybody out there is. There's never any bad situations, but they're few and
Hmm.
far between. There's no doubt about it.
Hmm.
And the higher the level you go, the less of that you have.
I think it's
You
a
know,
great thing to go and experience a hunt. Just to go and watch. Most of the time
yes,
they're going to let you. Now I will say this, and some of these people at these hunts might be cool with it. If I was going to go, and I might be completely wrong about this, but if you're going to go watch a hunt, maybe go to more of a club style hunt. Don't
absolutely.
show up. Don't show up at a pro hunt
Yeah,
or a USDC Elite Series where people's hunting for $10,000 and wanting to talk to them
absolutely.
on a cast and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah. There's a spot for that. Yeah,
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 but
absolutely. There's a spot for that. You know, these guys are we're the same way. Uh, you're trying to concentrate everything you can on a dog in that cast. You know,
hmm,
and I think we all know that we're not the same for that 90 minutes as we are sitting here right now.
yeah,
You're in a whole different frame of mind. You have to be to handle that dog. Um, and I think that at that level, yeah, it's probably not something they're probably not going to think these people are very friendly. Where if they were at something a little different, it would be, you know, or come to these hunts and visit with these people. There's nobody that coon hunts or squirrel hunts doesn't want to talk about their dog, you know.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, and then there's a group of us that hunt so much together that, like he said there, you got some talk going back and forth. It's a
Yeah.
little different deal.
Oh, I, I definitely when that buzzer goes off, if it's a club hunt for a piece of paper.
Yeah,
My now I'm still cutting up, especially if I know you well. I'm still cutting
yes,
up,
yeah,
but now I'm also not over there joking around and jumping around and
that's it.
cutting up. I'm listening to my dog, and if you say something to me, I'm gonna cut
Yeah,
up back and forth. But it's more
yes,
mostly
Yeah.
What are we doing? You know, it's
Yeah.
paying attention to your dog and my dog, and
Well,
you
I
know,
think that
I'm not trying to discourage people from coming to hunts. I think more
yes.
of the club style and stuff like that. You don't want to show up at a
Mhm.
world hunt and go out
Yeah.
on a semifinal cast and be trying to ask a guy 20
Yes. Yep.
questions.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. I think if you do, and you'll see some of these bigger coonhound hunts where there's a pile of people walking, but they're behind what's that? He's losing his hands. Yeah, I know.
yeah.
uh, there's a pile
Oh,
of people walking behind these guys that are spectating, and I think there's a spot for the spectators to be. Uh, assume Cody win. It's such.
well, yeah, I appreciate that, Blake.
Yeah,
I hope to win too.
yeah. Well, I think that you hear guys say, "Well, I didn't plan on winning. I wasn't worried about winning. I'm worried about winning every time I come." Now, I mean, I want to win. That's what we're there for. Everybody is. That's
Mhm.
why you do what you do. Uh, but I think there's definitely times, like you said, when you're in a world champion cast, you've made it to the finals. That's probably not the time when you want somebody to say, "Now, what is it? What are you doing there? Why'd you do this? Or
Mhm.
what's that all about?"
Yeah.
And you hear people talk about the controversy of having people on a cast. Some people don't even want people on the cast. They don't want spectators. Um, I think that all has to be managed. There's no doubt about it. You watch these guys that are good judges. Watch how they handle a cast. They set the rules before they go, and then they kind of eliminate a lot of problems there.
Yeah. Now, I think this is great, but the majority of people are wanting to know what's going on and what's
Absolutely.
your
Yeah.
dog doing. Now,
Yeah.
if you went and when everybody stops, you stop, and
Yeah.
when there's nothing going on, yeah, that's fine, dandy. I'm just saying, don't play 100 questions with somebody trying to win a cast.
Well, and I mean, if you're walking along up through there, and you and I are trying to hear those dogs, and you got 17 people behind you, and it takes them 30 seconds to all come to a stop, and they're bumping into each other when they're doing it. You've done lost the chance that you had of possibly hearing that dog. So I can
Hmm.
see both sides of it. I mean,
Yeah.
but like I say, there are some of these judges that can really handle these big casts like that. But they lay down some ground rules, and I don't think that would be real fun for a very first time guy. You know,
Yeah.
uh, where if you had somebody else back there that was kind of commentating for you, well, that's a different deal. Now with Josh, Michaelis doing what he does on these live streams, I think that's great. And we do it sometimes too in the squirrel dog world. These live streams are super. You can see what's happening and what people are doing. So I think that gives us a whole bunch of positive publicity too.
Yeah. No doubt. Now you've mentioned something about 14 cast members or whatever. Uh, so it's a weird deal. Nobody wants to be that guy that says, "Hey man, I really don't want your spectators to come because it might be a group." And I know LBK is normally not bad about it, but I've seen groups of people that hunt together. Just say there's 3 or 4 people there at a hunt,
Mm-hmm.
and they're down to one dog.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other 3 want to go.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, so nobody wants to be the asshole that says, "Man, I don't want your spectators out there. I'm hunting by myself. I'm not
Yes.
hunting against you and
Yep.
your 4 spectators looking at a
Yep.
tree."
Yep.
But on the other hand, it is one of them deals. It's like they're supposed to be looking for you, and I'm not saying that nobody
Mm-hmm.
does. Everybody doesn't, and everybody does. But I can say this: they might have on sunglasses and be going,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
but it's such a weird deal because you don't want to be that guy. It's like, man, I really don't want any spectators on there. It's not fair for me to hunt against 4 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I also see the side of, man, this is my hunting partner, and I'd like to go and spectate.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So,
Yeah. I think that you have to that there again that goes back to the discretion of that judge. When he lays those ground rules at the beginning and says, "Now look, everybody that's a handler, they're going to be up here with me. Anybody that's a spectator is going to be back there." And then you got the, well, do we look or do we don't look? Well, then you got that controversy. You know, uh, And I think for the majority, most of the time, people are trying to do the right thing. Then there are
Yeah,
those that don't. You know, uh,
yeah,
it's not always going to happen like that. So I think you've got to lay some ground rules. I don't think what works one time works every single time. There have been situations where I've had spectators that were great. I may not even know them. A lot of times, I'm sure you're the same way. I mean, when you take Gunner somewhere, there's somebody going to say, "Man, I'd like to see that dog go." Well, come on this cast. But I think it has to be monitored, especially with us on the squirrel side, where that squirrel can timber out. He can do so many things. If everybody's looking at their uh, at their watch or their Garmin, they're not looking at that squirrel and they
yeah.
just miss yours. Well, you just missed out. What was that? Did he have a question there or something?
Oh, Steven blowing smoke up your skirt here.
Oh,
I've talked to
well,
John a few times on Messenger, and he's probably the truest guy in the squirrel dog world I've ever met. Uh, he's always going to try to help anyone that asks him. Great guy, glad to have him on. You are, I will say that. Have always been friendly to me, even when we first met. And to be honest, I've never heard anybody say, "Boy, old John's an asshole."
well, there's probably
And I've heard that about a lot of people. Let's
there's
just get that straight.
I'm, I'm sure
so,
there's a few. Yeah.
so
I'm sure there's a few. I mean, I appreciate the kind words, but I mean, there's probably a few that would tell you completely different. I try to do like everybody else does. Be professional. Surround yourself with professional people.
hmm
Like-minded people attract like-minded people. You know,
yeah,
and I think in this sport, my integrity is worth way more than any cast win. I'll tell you that.
yeah,
You know,
I agree.
I mean that's just kind of how I feel about it. I want to win, but I,
Yeah.
I want to I want to do it in the right way.
Austin Bloom says starting a hunting club group here in, I assume that's Wisconsin.
Uh huh.
Tough getting places to go, being deer country, but we're gonna try our best to get the cur dogs going. So, if anybody's around Wisconsin, reach out to Austin Bloom. He's trying to get, I guess, some hunts up that way. I don't know what organization, but
I don't know. You know,
reach out to Mr.
one thing,
Austin.
one thing I'd say about that to Austin Cody is, man, get on Facebook, start to look around there, and I'm sure you do. Start to look around there and connect with some of them local hunters. I mean, here where I'm at in Missouri, it's a long ways between clubs here. We don't have a lot of clubs. I mean, Bart's is the closest place to me. LBK, and they're 250 miles from me. That's the closest club I have that hosts hunts regularly. So I know what he's talking about. Uh, I mean, you got to travel, but you get on Facebook, look around, see if you can get a group. One thing about it, squirrel dog people like to come and hunt. You know, you can get you a group of people and start and see where you want to go with it.
No doubt. This went and Wit Hook. Just get here when you can. John already told all the good secrets. Yep, no doubt.
One thing about it, there's no secrets to none of this stuff. Uh, I mean, there's nothing but hard work in these things. That's for sure. I wish I had all the secrets. It'd make it a lot easier.
Yeah. Paradise Valley says NGTDA. I don't have a clue.
North
North
Georgia Tree Dog
Georgia Tree Dog
Association.
Association.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And North Georgia is holding club hunts for folks to learn, as well as some sanctioned events for anyone in the area.
Great
All right.
idea, right there.
North Georgia
Great idea.
area, y'all, or whatever
Yep,
surrounding states, look up the North Georgia Tree Dog Association
yep.
if you want
And
to
you
try to get in it.
and you won't deal with a better guy right there. Call. I mean, great guy. Message him. Shoot him a message. Get in touch with him. Go get with him. Those club hunts, man, what a way to kind of get your feet wet and see if you like it or not. And then you can
No
ask
doubt.
the question there. Why is it that I got minus here? Why would I got minus here? Well, here's the
hmm
reason why. I mean, we've all heard the old adage, the $30 lessons. They've been called that for hundreds of
Yeah.
years. I get it. I understand that, but um, everybody's got to start somewhere with this thing. Everybody had our first cast that we were in.
Yeah.
You had to start someplace.
Matter of fact, I get cheated worse at home than while we're practice hunting. Matter of fact,
That
while we're
group,
practice hunting, I probably get cheated worse than any time I'm in a hunt.
you
But
mean
now
to
I'll say
tell?
this: you learn.
Yeah, you mean to tell me that group of guys that you got around there would do a fellow like that?
Here's the deal. I don't cheat them ever, but they seem to want to cheat me.
Uh-huh. They do.
So
Not you though. You're
no,
never
I
on
don't.
giving you.
I'm
Uh,
strictly by the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
I try to
Yeah.
do everything by the book. But I'll tell
No
you
doubt.
this:
No doubt about it. Yeah. Well.
Blake, he'll try to get over on you.
Yeah. You think he will? He'd try to get over on.
You know what? Not on purpose. No,
uh,
I say I think that's a great idea having practice hunts. We practice hunt all the time. Now that being said, it you can learn a lot. It's like the pot calling the kettle black. Uh,
well, I tell you one. I tell you one thing for sure. We're joking about it and having a good time at it. Uh, but when you're with people that have got nice dogs that are educated handlers, you can see yourself in situations and become aware of that. It's not something that's foreign to you. You don't see it happen in a cast and think, "What in the world do I do?" You've seen
hmm
that, and I'm convinced that if you want to win a world hunt, surround yourself with people that have won world championships,
hmm
like-minded people, because you got to put those dogs in that situation, and you got to put yourself in that situation. You know, um, there's a lot comes with that. You don't just look into those happenings. Uh, you gotta be there practicing in them hunts like
Yeah,
you're talking about with the guys like you're talking about. You learn
that might have
learn a
been
lot of
how
things.
I've won to. I got cheated enough at the house
You
that
was ready. You were ready.
I
See,
got ready. I
those
got
guys were
lucky.
doing. Blake was doing you a favor, wasn't it? You didn't even know
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
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 What's
That's
funny is I'll forget, and every once in a while I'll go and change my codes because Blake he'll be watching my dog, and
uh
every once in a while he'll mention what's he doing over there, and I'm like,
yeah. Yeah. Well, there's some good and
yeah,
some bad comes with that,
yeah,
isn't there?
yeah. I'll go and change my code real quick.
One thing about him, he's as good as they come now. There
Oh
he's
yeah,
he's he's got
yeah,
that handling figured out. He's good at that.
yeah, no doubt.
uh, you got another question there?
Last time I recall, my first hunt, I drew you, and you dominated me pretty quick. No, I didn't think I'd done anything out of the way. Called, done it by the rules.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, maybe
I
when he's
felt,
saying dominated, maybe he just meaning that you overpowered your dog just overpowered his dog. You know.
I don't know,
Uh,
but
yeah.
anyway,
Well,
uh,
that stuff happens.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, now I will say this: most of the time, when people feel like they got cheated, it's because they didn't know the rules, or they didn't
oh,
read the rules,
absolutely.
or didn't interpret the
Yeah.
rules the same way.
Yeah.
And you go
Absolutely.
to a bunch of hunts, you'll figure it out.
Mhm. No doubt about it.
Ha! I finally made it, and I can already tell Cody is lying.
Nothing but the truth, ain't it, Cody?
Oh yeah, yeah, nothing but the truth here. No, Dalton had a nice dog. I think.
Yeah.
So the biggest issue I see is a lot of times these rules are written like a lawyer. Where there's
Absolutely.
trying not to have a gray area.
Yeah.
Well, don't say, "Hey man, you get 45 foot from the tree." Or your dog has a bark. It says once every 2 minutes. Well,
Yeah.
that don't mean your dog barks once every 2 minutes, and if you walk as hard as you can for 2 minutes and you show up at a tree, it don't have to bark again.
Yes.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now you
Yeah.
do get some walk time, but the
Hmm.
judge can stop and question, listen.
Hmm.
put the
Yes.
two on you. You know,
Yes.
it's just knowing how the rules are interpreted on a lot of rules, I think, is the biggest issue.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think what you said, Cody, a lot of times people feel that they've been cheated, and really they weren't cheated. That was a use
Hmm.
of the rules that didn't go in their favor, that those other people, let's
Yeah,
face it, it's a game. Whether you're playing the offensive end or the defensive end of that,
yeah.
you play your game completely different according to what has happened in that cast, how much time's left in that cast, what you have to do. Let's face it, if you're up two squirrels, you're not going to take a big chance. If you need one squirrel to do it, you're going to take a big chance. You
I
know,
mean, I've had
and
times where people's asked me, I'm up a squirrel, and we still got a little bit of time to hunt, and they're like, "Hey, man, do you mind? This creek's just right here. Do you mind if I walk my dog over here and let him get a drink of water?"
mhm,
Cool. I look down at the clock. Cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
just
Matter
neaten
of
it up.
fact, you can leave him
Yeah,
on there as long as you want
yes, yeah, yeah,
to. My dog's out hunting. Finna be
right,
treed. Matter
yeah.
of fact, you're gonna get to leave him on there a little bit longer.
Yeah, just as
But
soon as he hits, you're going to call him. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that that's the part that you either like or you don't like about this, because that's the pressure on us as a handler. You know,
Mhm.
what do you do at this point? Every cast is not the same. Today's won't be like it was
Yeah.
yesterday because the situations aren't going to be. You know, there are times that you may have a dog treed. If you got a stationary rule, and he falls under that stationary before the time's out. You may just leave him there if you're ahead. Don't do nothing. If stationary ain't going to get you and you're ahead and you're winning. But now if you weren't, you'd play that completely different. You'd take a chance. Uh,
So,
you know, so that there's a lot of difference there. But I think so much of it is, and there are people that are, like I said earlier, man, there's some great handlers here. Very few
yeah.
times do we have a situation where somebody says, it might not be that you agree, there may be a disagreement, but very few times do you have a situation that everybody says, I've never heard of that. I don't really know. We got to question
Mhm.
this. I think it happens so few times. There are some great handlers, no doubt about it. And the rules have gotten to where they're trying to eliminate any gray area. Now it's all still up to interpretation by some.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's always going to be that's never going to change in our game. It's going to be what it's going to be. There are going to be things that we agree with, things that we disagree with, that made us win today or lose tomorrow. But and at the end of the day, you got to play the game how the rules are laid out.
Uh, I've had situations that's happened to me that looking back, I'd say I do this so much differently. And the next time I did it differently, and then I'm like, nah, I don't really want to do it like that again. And
Yes.
for instance, I was coming fifth at the NSD World Hunt that year.
Hmm.
Got off trying to get off the lead before I got leash locked, thinking I'm gonna be treed again before we walk the 700 yards back to the other dogs. He goes the wrong direction. Stays treed 45 minutes out of here.
Yep.
Okay. This year, got a dog 800 yards and a dog 1100 yards. I'm thinking, last time I was trying to get off the lead, I'm winning this cast.
Yep.
I've treed a squirrel and I'm 100 circle. The other dog hadn't even been treed in. Another dog's sitting at 100 circle. So I'm sitting there thinking, if I get leash locked, by the time we get back, the odds of this hunt being over with and this dog's still having this squirrel aren't very high. So
Hmm.
I elected. I'm sitting there like, I've got both of y'all's dogs. And they're looking at me, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, they like 30 seconds. And I'm looking at them. And I'm like, I've got both of y'all's dogs. And I was like, do you want us to
Yeah.
tree? And I was like,
Yeah.
yes. And they tree. I'm trying not to get out of pocket.
Yep.
We get over there, times are now 5 minutes left on the clock. The dog that had been treed over 1,100 yards had a squirrel on a old knotted up tree, and he beat it out of it. 4 minutes left to go in the cast. I'm sitting there thinking, dude, I could have done been treed again.
Uh-oh. Yep. I
He
made the
could have had
wrong
the cast
decision.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Luckily, he got treed right there with 3 minutes. I can't remember. It might have been 3 minutes left to go in the hunt.
Yeah.
But he got treed right there 30 seconds before the hunt was over. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, there's so many scenarios that you go back and look at.
Absolutely. you can't think, well, the next time I'm going to do it this way, because it won't be the same situation. It's everything's different every time you cut that dog loose. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
We had a good time. It did get real calculated.
Yes.
Trying to know when to tree, going in for second, not waiting. It's fun. Now I'll tell you this, Mike's tough. You draw Mike, you better be prepared.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mike's one of the best in the business, uh, and a gentleman at it. I mean,
Yeah,
uh, yeah, when you draw him, he's coming with a good dog and the knowledge to win that cast. You know, uh,
yeah.
yeah. But
So
like I say, I mean, I think now at this level, there's so many good dogs and handlers that you see these situations and you think, wow, that went that way,
yeah,
that particular situation. But it may not be like that tomorrow. You may not need to make that tree in those last 4 minutes.
yeah. I almost treed my stupid dog in right there at the end. He's sitting there treed, and I was nervous on this cast. I was because
Uh,
I don't know. It's just something about it. It was hot. It was a lot of when Gunner and Grace draw out. It's normally a shootout,
yeah,
and
you got two nice dogs there that are going to give you everything they got for that 90 minutes.
yeah,
There's no doubt about it. Uh,
yeah. And you're not pulling one over on Mike,
no,
and
no, no, no,
and
no.
he knows everything. Like he knows
Yeah,
exactly what she's doing. And matter of fact, if he's hunted with your dog several times, he knows what your dog's doing.
absolutely. And I think that's the common denominator with these guys that are what you consider some of the best. They
Yeah,
don't take long to figure out what your dog's doing. They know what you're doing. They don't ask a lot of questions because they don't need a lot of answers. They have those answers. They're calculating that in their head as the time's clicking by. They know whether
hmm,
to play defensively or offensively. Um,
yeah,
and it's an art. There's a lot of people that are very good dog people that aren't good handlers in the hunt. Very good puppy men that aren't good handlers in the hunt. Um, man, I got a lot of respect for those guys that can do it at that highest level and keep their head about them, be gentlemen. I mean,
yeah,
there's an art to it, no doubt about it.
yeah. No doubt. So, well, John, I'm finna get off here, buddy. We've been on here two
Absolutely.
hours and 12 minutes.
I just looked at my watch and I thought, well, I guess we've been on here about an hour. Holy cow! I mean, we've been on here a long time.
Couple
Uh,
hours. Yeah.
wasn't a lot of dead time.
No, no, we was worried to death about our two topics we had.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know if we even covered them.
Yeah, I don't even know what we touched on them. But
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
so we really appreciate you coming on. You're a wealth of knowledge, great dog man. Um, like I said, we appreciate everything you do and what you do for the sport, as well as the people in it. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
just want to thank you.
man, I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me a call. I mean, you and I talk a lot, and we visit. Good friends outside of this thing. I appreciate it. Same thing with you guys doing what you do. Man, this stuff is going to be important at some point. These podcasts that people think, man, I don't know why I'm doing this. There'll be a reason why.
Yeah.
These things are archived. At some point, maybe my grandkid will look at this. Uh,
Hmm.
I think there's so much to be said for these and growing our sport. And like I say, I appreciate the kind words. Appreciate the kind words from everybody on here. Um, I try to help anybody I can, anytime I can. No doubt about that. And I've had good mentors to do it. You don't get in these spots by not having good guidance. That's for sure.
No
Uh,
doubt.
so I appreciate it. Glad to be on. Do it anytime I can. Um,
Yep.
like I say, appreciate the opportunity, Cody.
Thank you. And
You-
everybody give that like, share. Go follow John. He always has good pictures. Great dog man. So and I guess go look up Boone with Caleb Wilson. He's wanting some stud dogs. So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
if you're not wanting a tree and cur, I have a
Yep.
nice
He,
mountain cur here we
he's a
can talk
guy.
about.
Yep,
So
yep. Give Cody a shout.
yeah, give Cody a shout.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
thank you. Until
All
next
righty, bud.
time.